हेलो वेलकम बैक टू ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी एवरीवन एंड यस मैं एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रहा था भाई इस मोड में मैं आऊंगा इस टाइमिंग में आऊंगा यस डेफिनेटली वी वर प्लान टू गो लाइव आज शाम 6 साढ़े 6 बजे बट दैट वाज definitely supposed to be for the UEFA Champions League review यार and the UEFA Champions League preview for the upcoming matches. That was what the plan was. मतलब literally I was half asleep or for those of you who have watched me on Rock Baba as well I've reacted a little bit वहां पर. It came as a shock to me, absolutely shock. और yes काफी लोग बोलेंगे this is you know it's coming लेकिन again the fact that we have spent almost close to what 280 million if I'm not wrong transfer window में उसके 5-6 दिन बाद literally Thomas Tuchel getting sacked and it is deja vu यार. लैम्पार्ड का सबको याद है that एक कप गेम के बाद हुआ था और कप गेम के पहले ही people said that it was decided. लेकिन deja vu क्यों? Roman Abramovich is not in town. As much as I loved Roman, bhai, why this thing has continued? I have no idea what to say right now. But again, for those of you who by chance यार मेरे से जो सो रहे थे दोपहर में and or maybe just busy, simple as that. But it is breaking news और मुझे literally पहले लगा था ये April Fool सब कोई मुझसे मजाक कर रहा है. That is what I honestly thought really. Or yes, this is what it is. Thomas Tuchel. Parting ways बोल रहे but pretty sure it's a sacking. It's a sacking for sure. Yes, we have parted company with head coach Thomas Tuchel. अरे आज तो manager बोल देते यार. मतलब come on यार. मतलब I know that again club bigger than the manager, the player, anyone. But again they have rightly said. Second line में बोला है भाई that he's a part of Chelsea's history after winning the Champions League, Super Cup and Club World Cup. मतलब again for me it's easy to say, it's very difficult ये वो and all those things. But again, after what all has happened, back to square one. भाई why वापस से क्यों हम शुरुआत करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? What are we trying to do? And anyway, we'll be discussing. Of course, there's a lot more which has happened in the last couple of hours. तो हम discuss करेंगे a couple of articles by main tier journalists भी. Or we are hoping to have a couple of guests here. Here, firstly, we have Taron is here. Taron, big up, bro. But I know that we've been waiting to talk. Surely, we didn't even envisage in the worst dream that this would happen, bro. Like, did you have even an idea about it, to be honest?
No, not at all. No kind of idea this is ever going to happen. I have so much to say. I don't know if we're getting into that right now, if we're waiting for the others to come, but might as well start. As you can see on my name on the screen in a second, Todd Boehly has to hang his head up in shame because he sold us a false dream, realistically, telling us he's going to back a manager that's going to come in, spending all the money, talking about a new contract, and then seeing the news that he wanted him out a long time ago and he didn't match his values. Surely when you come in as a new owner, you speak to a new manager and you have a discussion. If your visions align, then you build and you back with him. But why is he sacked in mid-season? It should have been done as soon as he's come in or in the summer. Even if it seems a bit outlandish, you should have sacked him then, got Potter in then, built a whole dynasty on the Potter, got all his tactics ready. But now you've waited 6 games into a season and I don't want Todd Boehly to be our owner anymore. I think it's very unlikely that he will leave, but
and you know what,
I'd rather have the Ricketts right now.
You know what, I hear Taron and I sense that thing, like, is it for real? Honestly, Taron, I'm not even joking here. When I got, like, I was literally asleep, in the afternoon, and people messaged me, like, left, right, center. I'm like, why is my phone going mad? Like, what have I done? Mm-hmm. And then I see this, I thought, okay, no, come on, it's surely a prank. Someone's kind of adding to it. And then I saw Rock Baba doing about it, and I went and spoke, and I actually saw the articles that you mentioned, and it kind of, now is coming to my, as in senses that, okay, fine, this happened for real. Especially, like you said, that Todd Boehly was supposed to be one who actually looked at a long-term strategy. Even the kind of players we bought, for example, Chukwuemeka, Cassidy, and as in those are people that obviously it defines that we are looking at long-term and we are looking at the vision of Thomas Tuchel at maybe one of the things that is going on. Plus the fact that Thomas Tuchel himself has been carrying the club, along with Todd Boehly for the last few months. So if anyone would understand what he's going through right now, it should be Todd Boehly, Igbali probably, and that's what as in the shocking part of it. Even the timing of it, just after the transfer window goes, and I know Utkarsh is saying Potter is who's a favorite. Yes, he's the Bookies' favorite. But again, first let's actually delve into what went wrong, what are the things that probably could have been fixed, and if it can still be fixed. Again, opposition, I know that for a matter of fact, they are very, very happy. I know that opposition are like, because come on, it is Thomas Tuchel. In today's day and age, yes, there were issues in terms of what we were playing football. Some players are not playing for him, and we'll come to that. But I don't know, Taron, do you think in terms of tactics alone, as in where would you rate Thomas Tuchel in terms of tactics alone, seeing all his management experience?
I'd say he's probably the second or third best in the world tactically. But in terms of man management, apart from maybe Rudiger or Jorginho, to be very honest with you, I don't think Tuchel is the best man manager. And I think that's what it causes the rifts in the players. Players like Havertz haven't really improved under him. Players like Mount have kind of, but under Lampard, I thought Mount was a little bit better.
Ziyech.
Be 1 second.
Yes, yeah. Again, let me welcome Fahim as well. Or by the way, I have invited a lot of content creators today. Hopefully, everyone adds or sub log add kare bhai apne views. Definitely, bhai. Fahim, man, this was a shock, man. It took me like about half an hour to actually believe it and actually post about it after checking all the sources if it's for real. And obviously, I thought someone has literally hacked into DavidOrnstein, account. But Fahim, as in we've been discussing it on and off in terms of the tactics, in terms of players, are they playing for Tuchel? And then, what do you think has started all this? I know that a lot of reports have come in the last 2-3 hours for him, but what is your first thought?
To be honest, I'm shocked as well. I'm very, very shocked. 6 games in. I mean, we're moving like Watford here. It's just sacking managers very early in the season. I think it's a bit ridiculous. If you had this plan of concerns about replacing the manager for the long term, then why did you keep him in pre-season? I had this concern in my head why pre-season looked so weird, looked so odd. The players didn't look up for it. That loss against Arsenal, something was weird, something was wrong in the dressing room. And I think it was due to the fact that I think the players, it's the same story. Down tools, they just didn't decide to play for the manager anymore. It's the culture of the club. And this is the problem we have as fans, is that the culture is still there. The Roman hiring and firing culture is still at the club. As you can see right now, Tuchel's been...
Bro, let's be honest. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we have become a troll club, man. Trust me on that. And I'm already getting a lot of DMs, and I know what kind of DMs. Some I can't even read them. And yeah, we don't want to take decisions based on whether people or opposition, fans troll us. The fact is, even as someone who's watched Chelsea for 22 years, my word was like, okay, fine. When Jose Mourinho came, he came for many years, and then the second time when he came, I really thought that Roman Abramovich has changed the approach. What approach we used to, as old Chelsea, used to take, and finally we are having the players as well as the culture. But I don't know, Taron, like again, in terms of just the kind of trophies that he's worked, yes, of course there have been issues. Again, we can discuss about that. But isn't it very weird that both, I know Di Matteo was kind of a stopgap anyway. He was always supposed to be sacked by Chelsea at the time, and we know that was never a long term. But Tuchel, even though he was brought on mid-season, it was definitely, like you said, one of the top managers in the world. So unless we had someone that, okay, fine, maybe we have already been speaking to Potter, or maybe even Rodgers, for instance, the way he's handling Leicester recently, who knows? As in, do you think that there was a possibility that maybe, and Roman is actually in touch with, Boehly, and there has been an influence somehow? As in, I'm like almost thinking that is it Roman spirits who's doing that or what? Like, I'm like so baffled by this.
I don't think Roman's been in contact with Boehly. I just think that it's just naivety and experience as a new owner. Like Fahim said, he should have just got rid of him. If he didn't think the visions aligned back in the summer, he should have just got rid of him straight away and let Potter implement his tactics, because Potter took a good 2 years, and he's still not perfect now, to get his Brighton team playing how he wants to. Last season, they barely scored any goals. The season before that, they were struggling with defence and goals. So it will take a while for Potter, but I don't understand why he's being kept on. Sold us all a dream, made him think that all the interviews, he was the man to back him for the next 5 to 10 years. And look what's happened now. I don't really know. I'm just kind of speechless, to be honest, with Boehly. I think Potter maybe was in the pipeline for a few weeks, because I don't think you can sack a manager, prepare for a sacking, unless you have someone else. There must be in contacts with Potter. But Potter as well, he definitely, for me, isn't one of the top 3 managers in the world. He's more of like you said, Cesare and Chukwuemeka, a future investment, and he will take a few years. But I don't understand. I would have kept Tuchel for that future investment. Even if he finished 8th or 9th this season, I would have kept Tuchel, and I would have backed him, because you saw what happened with Arteta. I know it wasn't the same amount of money he spent a few seasons ago, but Arteta finished 8th twice in a row. Everyone thought, he's a dreadful manager. 3 losses towards the start of last season. Everyone thought you have to get rid of him. And similar to Tuchel now, if we were Arsenal, we would have kept Tuchel, we would have backed him. And now look what's happening with Arsenal. They have the signings they want, playing great football. The fan base is really connected as a unit, and every single game, the Arsenal fan base is getting really up for that and feeling the energy with the team. And that was happening with Tuchel. So I don't really know what's going to happen with Potter as well. Pochettino, no. Potter, not really for me, to be honest with you. And Zidane is finished, in my opinion. So, yeah, we're pretty screwed as a club, to be honest.
Yeah, I think at some point in time, the options, definitely, kind of finish by itself. But again, big up to RJ. RJ, I know you're busy. You wanted to come on and speak as well. Would love to have on in the future, of course. Yes, shocking news. I get the signs weren't positive, but surely the club needed to be patient here, given the large investment and his contribution to it. Absolutely, I echo that 100%, RJ. Like, again, for people out there who follow the channel as well, know that, yes, I have been critical of Tuchel. I won't lie that, in terms of the tactics, in terms of certain players like a Ziach, for example, clearly not playing Pulisic, for example. But again, that doesn't mean you sack, as in you got to work it together. And especially after you build that team, you have a lot of youngsters. And yes, there is a school of thought, that is saying that, okay, maybe, Boehly and co wanted someone who kind of, as in just kind of listens to Boehly and co, what their philosophy is. But to be honest, the kind of players we had a lot of youngsters as well. So that would have been an ideal situation for them to get together and just get the best out of them, especially after getting rid of a Lukaku, a Werner, who towards the end was, a little bit rotten as well in terms of what he was saying. So, things were, I thought, moving in the right direction with the recruitment as well. Just 5 days ago, Aubameyang, as in, I don't know all this for him. I know that the next obvious thing is, and we'll be discussing again, coming back to the reasons as to what could be, the reason why we see this. But in terms of Aubameyang, just like 5 days ago, this guy was signed, and there's a lot of thought about, as in Ronaldo, as in coming there, right? As in maybe he wanted Ronaldo, Tuchel didn't want Ronaldo, but finally he got Aubameyang, right? So considering Aubameyang, what do you think? As in, I'm just calling left field. Why don't we just go for Unai Emery, man? He has unfinished business. Talk about unfinished business, and Premier League and Chelsea's kind of first name in that. Like, for him, quick thoughts there.
I mean, yeah, Unai Emery's a good shout, but I think the way it ended at Arsenal, I don't think Unai Emery would consider coming back to England to manage Chelsea. And I think he's doing well with Villarreal. He's won the Europa League recently, but so it wouldn't be a bad shout, but I don't think it'll happen. But with the Aubameyang one, like, it's very, very weird because Tuchel wanted Aubameyang, and then Boehly got him Aubameyang. If you had concerns before before the games in the Premier League started, then why did you buy Aubameyang then? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's almost like they went into a club and overnight both of them were like high and they just fought with each other, man. It's almost seeming of that, because it's so weird. As you don't spend what it was Alonso plus 14 million, if I remember right, in terms of euros, and that was like wow, man. As in, that's not like peanuts for sure. But I know Taron, you have to go, bro. And Taron, I know that you also got to share something about what MattLaw has written. So please, as in, do share your ending thoughts about what has been the theory of all the journalists that are talking, and of course, people who do not know Taron, his Twitter handle is below, so give him a follow. Taron is very much there, so he kind of gets first-hand information as well. So Taron, yeah, please share your thoughts. What do you think what the journalists are talking about?
Yeah, I tweeted you. I sent you a message earlier about that article. Very interesting. I recommend you all to read it. If you could attach a link or just on MattLaw's page. So yeah, he just kind of said that Boehly wants someone who has a long-term ambitions and likes to work with a owner more. But Tuchel apparently got his best work when Mourinho was in charge when he first came in. He was given all the tools to do it himself with his coaches, basically. But Boehly wants someone who can just stay side by side with him, tell him everything that's going on with the club, the visions. He wants someone who can connect with and discuss the ambitions of the club. But Tuchel was more someone who wanted everything to be done on his own and wants the directors and like Czech, Marina, Bruce Buck and all of them to do their own things and see the club. And he wants to just focus on the coaching. But I believe that Todd Boehly wants someone who can do both of the aspects. And yeah, this was happening after the summer apparently, and they realized their visions didn't really align. I'm not sure why we still went for Aubameyang and co when they realized it wasn't happening. But yeah, there was sour feelings from over a month ago since the preseason tour. Tuchel kind of saw it as a marketing event for Boehly. It wasn't really to get the players up to fitness. Loads of flights, difficult conditions, not enough time to work on the tactics. more just meeting the fans, getting Boehly around. So again, I'm just going to go back to it and say Boehly has to have blood in his hands here because he's really screwed us over. And we should have kept Marina and put her as the position of our new owner.
Yep, as in that makes total sense, absolutely. And again, maybe just Burley is trying to make a point here about as in being the man, or of course it's not him, it's the entire consortium. Fair enough with that as well. But I think I actually echo Taron because yes, at the end of the day, club bigger than anyone. I understand that, but again, you are the owner of the club, but you've got to understand the sentiments, the history that the club brings, and we've again, I am one, and Taron knows that very well, as in someone who's in touch with the channel for a long time. Taron, you know that I am one who backs Chelsea history to the core, and I kind of go out, stick my neck out that we do have history, and things like this kind of come behind me and saying that no, we don't have history because we don't create it, and that's the problem. When we are looking towards that, and again we go back one step front, two steps back. That's what we always do, and that's the thing which irritates me the most. But again, thanks, Sharon. I know that it was a very short notice, and I know it shocked you as well. But certainly, we'll have a lot of conversations as and when news trickles. But again, big up to Taron. People give Taron a follow. His Twitter handle is below, and hopefully, Taron, you come back and hopefully we have something positive from here. I don't think it can get worse, but let's hope for the best, and all the best to Tuchel.
All right, see you later. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so Taron's taking leave, but Fahim, I'll just take a few comments before coming back to you. And of course, we are expecting even Dennis to join us, Couch Critic, hopefully in the next half hour or so. लेकिन यहाँ पर क्या बोल रहा actually Ziach attitude is pathetic. Yes, of course, player power is the thing, and we'll be discussing about player power, I think, which Taron referred to as well to an extent. UCL experience, what? As in, again, is he just wanting, or are they just wanting a puppet who just comes and does the things because they don't have much experience? I don't know. As in, especially for Todd Boehly and co, for whom it is the first European club that they are owning. I am pretty sure that for them it is a new experience, and they wanted someone who's been in Europe, been there, done that. Who better than Thomas Tuchel? Yes, there are candidates, but surely Pochettino, Graham Potter of the likes, they haven't done at the highest level, man. As in, that's like, again, I'll be honest here. When Tuchel came initially, I was thinking twice. I won't be saying that, okay, he was my preference before joining Chelsea. The reason being, again, same thing. Has he been successful at PSG overall? You can argue, yes, PSG probably had the better season under Tuchel than under any other manager. But he didn't finish them that way, right? In the end, it kind of was boiling. And that's what I'm talking. I'm coming to the ego part of it. What do you reckon? As in terms of player power, for him, it's a clear thing that the way Ziyech performed yesterday, again, I don't want to keep blaming here. I am a Ziyech fan. You are as well. I know that. But the fact is, to some point, you will believe that. And as per MattLaw's tweet, it's clear that players will not be very dissatisfied with what has happened today. As in, where are you on that?
I mean, I said this. It's the same thing that happened under Lampard. I know, like, Lampard and Tuchel, completely different style of managers, but happened under Mourinho, happened under Conte. It's the same old story. This is the same story to me. Tuchel being sacked, and then the players being unhappy with his tactics, players being unhappy about the situation. I think it's like I said earlier, it's the culture of Chelsea Football Club. There's the fact that the players will down tools. They feel like they have more of, more protection than the manager. So I think Graham Potter, I'm not too sure about. I think the comment did say about UCL experience. Thomas Tuchel has that UCL experience. He even got that credit in the bank. He got us the Champions League. He got us the Super Cup. Got us the Club World Cup. First time in the club's history. Surely you want to build with this manager rather than a manager that hasn't really proven much in top flight football. I mean, Graham Potter, no disrespect, top coach, but can he manage egos like this? Like, there will be a time where he will have to face circumstances where, let's say, we lose a game badly. How will Graham Potter respond? The pressure of winning titles, the pressure of losing games from the media, all that stuff plays a factor in becoming a top manager. I think Tuchel did that well, but I don't know if Graham Potter can do that. I'll be honest with you. I think Graham Potter at Brighton is doing well. I think he should be working his way up rather than going from Brighton to Chelsea. That's a huge step up. And a club like Chelsea, we want to aspire for the top, the best, and
Yeah,
not
you know
just.
what? As in again, I see Eugene in the chat. Spurs supporter and a fellow content creator as well. Big up to Eugene. You know what? As in, I have a few points here. I think it's again. I'm going to share another tier one journalist comments about what the theories are. And again, everyone can have their own theory. See, no one is really actually directly spoken to Tuchel and Boehly at this point in time, and Iqbali. That's for real. It's always the sources. It's always kind of again, if you're seeing any news here, take it with a pinch of salt. Why I can see one thing that the Conte moment happened, right? Conte and Tuchel had that handshake moment. At some point, I really believe that Burley is the new owner. He's coming to Chelsea Football Club. He's owning it right now, and of course, along with others. Now they would want Chelsea's kind of PR value to go up. You know what I mean in terms of world football, in terms of how we are looked at as a club. And I know even the stats say, and there's no secret there, Chelsea and Manchester United are the most hated clubs in terms of numbers. For whatever reason. Again, we can argue, we cannot argue that, whatever. But the fact is, coming as outsiders who have spent like close to 300 million and more than that, in fact, including the cost of Chelsea, people forget that that's like in billions we're talking, right? So they spent a lot of money. So I understand from a certain angle they may also see the business perspective. So one is in terms of the PR, our value kind of going down in terms of as in a lightning for the club. Secondly, Tuchel already in the media has said multiple times that okay, this is not my job. I am supposed to be a coach, etc. And actually, in fact, Tuchel is right there, because if you see,
Yep.
even I shared Chelsea's statement. They are still calling him a coach. Even after what Tuchel has done, they still call him a coach, just a coach, right? That's what he's done for Chelsea. I disagree big time with Chelsea there, as much as I love my club. Okay, the third thing is, of course, the Ronaldo situation. And I know there were comments about in the chat that yes, Todd Boehly was the one who listened to Tuchel. That okay, fine, you don't want Lukaku, get rid of him. Okay, Werner, get rid of him. Right? There were a lot of debates about Werner, Lukaku. Probably everyone agreed as well. But what about Ronaldo? It was clear that Todd Boehly, had met George Mendes, and it was clear that he wanted Ronaldo. But probably if Chelsea would have tempted Manchester United, you never know. I know they were saying not for sale. That could have happened on last day, and probably that's what happened on, again, that's a theory, people. September 1st, when they would have had a discussion. Okay, we just have 24 hours now. What do we do? Aubameyang, Barcelona are not budging beyond, beneath 20 million at that point in time. Okay, and then Tuchel is like, no, I don't want Ronaldo, I want Aubameyang. So probably they would have tried there and Barcelona agreed, but in hindsight, probably these things that no, as in Ronaldo was a better deal. It would have also sold us a lot of shirts compared to Aubameyang. As in, where is your theory about this businessman and American owners? Is that something in relation to that as well? Because we were circumspect, remember, when we spoke about the new owners coming in.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think we're yet to see what Todd's really plans for Chelsea. I think, yes, he spent a lot of money, but will he actually spend money when it comes to the next 5 years? Who knows what? We don't know what his model is. We don't know. We don't know what his plan is. I think the Ronaldo situation, I think what I've read, he really wanted Ronaldo. Tuchel said no because of the fact that it doesn't really fit in our system, fit in our style. And I agree, to be honest, it doesn't really fit how we want to play. But I don't think Todd understands that. He only wants Ronaldo for the marketing reason. It elevates his LA Dodgers brand and Chelsea's brand massively. And even in pre-season, it was mostly about, I think Taron said it, just marketing for the LA Dodgers. It wasn't really focusing on pre-season, getting ready and fit for the upcoming Premier League season. So to be honest, I think it was the right decision Tuchel made, but to Todd Boehly's sort of plan, I'm not too sure. It probably was to look at the business side rather than the footballing side, and spending money to look powerful, because Chelsea broke the Premier League record of spending the most in the transfer
spending the highest in a single window. Yeah.
So it's mostly to do a reputation thing. So I think we still don't know what his actual plan is for Chelsea. We may think it's the Liverpool model, may think it's the Glazers model. We don't know. American owners at this typical American owners, we all know they act like Glazers, they act like a Kroenke. We don't know what Todd will act at Chelsea. So I just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to follow as much. Again, whatever reports I repeat, and again, I'm saying, bhai, jo bhi dekh raha hai, bhai, koi bhi report that is not 100% true. It can never be 100% true. Like I said, even what they say might not be the actual facts. It not be total facts. But again, there has to be something. It cannot be fire just like that, right? So BenJacobs is just tweeted another tweet that he sent a thread rather just half an hour back. The Chelsea's two front runners to replace Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter and Mauricio Pochettino. Oh my God. Potter is the current priority, and Brighton won't stand in his way. But Pochettino is highly respected by many on the Chelsea board. Club want to talk to both before any final decision. Zidane has also been touted, but no approach has been made yet. The same can be said of Brendan Rodgers. So all the four, like I listed in the community page, the poll. Chelsea want to look at multiple candidates, but there are two clear targets, and contact has already been made with both. Chelsea have sacked Thomas Tuchel. He was informed. That one we've already kind of gone. And again, people, it is not because of Dinamo. It has basically been coming again. Maybe you can argue the Leeds result itself was enough, because Leeds is a primary rival of Chelsea, losing the 3-0 the way we lost, and of course for sure even Tuchel's behavior on the touchline, plus the fact that Tuchel has been very very, as in, he was almost stubborn about not getting Ronaldo, when I think again there were debates, but again half the world was saying that Ronaldo is available, why not? He couldn't do as bad as Lukaku, right? That was what all the world was saying. So I think it all adds into it, plus the fact that Tuchel himself was going through a tough time the last few months. We know that, and that is why maybe some frustration may have come, behind the scenes. And he was showing those. I don't know. Do you read that into it as well, for him? The fact that I don't know if you noticed, the last few months he's been more frustrated on the touchline than before. Like, I know that's a given. Once you're closer to the players, that happens in any job, right? I am myself a manager. I manage my team. I have the liberty to kind of, at times, show my, red side or rod side after a certain amount of time. Is that the case, or you feel that no, it has actually got to Tuchel as well?
I think, that is the case. I think the last few months he has looked very, very. So I don't know what it is. He just looked completely different compared to the first Tuchel we saw. He was happy. He was excited for Chelsea. The Tuchel in the last few months seemed very, very, I don't know what the word is, but agitated about the situation. Yes, sanctions have happened. It didn't really help at all. It made everything a lot more difficult, and he stuck by us. That was important, because he could have easily left that situation, considering the fact that the club was under a lot of uncertainty. But he stuck by us. And respect for that, because honestly, I think a lot of managers wouldn't really want to go under that amount of pressure and manage the club. They would have easily left if they wanted to. I think the whole role changing in terms of being a director of football, well, it said on the report, interim director of football. We heard it from Tuchel himself. He only wants to coach the team. He doesn't want to be involved with family matters. He doesn't want to be involved with players' family life. We heard about the fact that he had to deal with issues with big egos back in PSG, with the Neymar's family, with Mbappe's family. Didn't like it. And I think the same case can be brought into here in terms of the fact that the media were questioning Tuchel about Roman Abramovich when he has no answer about it. When Tuchel was questioned about Lukaku, had no answer about it. Like, I think this definitely played a part, built up till this point, and it's no surprise. It's no surprise that yesterday's interview, it was a surprise. It was a surprise, the fact that he said the team lacks determination, the team lacks intensity. When you hear those sort of quotes, you just know you've lost the dressing room. You lost the dressing room. There's no way you can say that 6 games in. You say that maybe later on the season where things are not looking good, but 6 games in and then they're lacking determination, lacking intensity. It's a worry,
bro. As in,
massive
so
worry.
see, sorry to cut you, bro, but you know what? I 100% I hear you, but I'll give you an example. Again, I know that every club is different. Every club kind of goes, the strategy is different. And Chelsea, I know we talk about our strategies. It's pretty obvious. Even I know that it's the new owner and all that, but that's what our strategy has been at least for the last 19 years now. In terms of basically the club, you gave an example of Arteta, for example, right? So Arteta, yes, of course. While I hear that he's done excellently, but again, ironically, he was actually favored to get sacked even before Lampard. Just let me tell you all. But yeah, he's still there, and Arsenal are doing things. Would we want to kind of be acceptable of what Arsenal did last season? Probably not. But at the same time, I can give an example of Allegri. Allegri, before the first match in the Champions League, campaign, and everyone in the chat, do correct me if I'm wrong. Allegri said that, come on, are we really talking about PSG? We should be talking about Benfica, whom we need to beat. So that's a way more negative statement to make. Being Juventus Football Club, technically, or people will say that they have more history than Chelsea. Again, I am there to debate, but again, that's what, as in the popular opinion says. And that club manager who's been there for a while, Allegri, who's already playing like Allegri ball is so infamous. He's going and saying that, and Juventus are like, no, you got to stick with Allegri. So yes, of course, they're different. They think differently. But still, I know, as a matter of fact, that Juventus eventually will come back, and that's been a power of Juventus as a club, right? At some point, we lose out of our options. So yes, there are a lot of disagreements. Same thing happened when Shevchenko came into Chelsea Football Club long back, and of course, it was Mourinho who's like, okay, no. I remember Torres came back in the day under Ancelotti. So those are things which happen, but you still kind of in modern day there are so less options left for you that you rather just talk about it and maybe discuss about it and then move on, or you don't play the players. Like in this case, Ziyech wasn't being played either. So don't you think that clearly there is an issue about Todd Boehly taking, like what Gary Neville mentioned, and I won't disagree with now, that the guy is actually playing FIFA manager, man. He's playing football manager. Because imagine, such a situation where you have spent billions into the club and you're sacking without a plan in place, without a director of football, as someone mentioned in the comments. So as in, to some extent, Todd Boehly needs a director of football. So where is that going?
It looks like a mess. The plan doesn't make any sense to me, because you hear names: Potter, Pochettino, Zidane and Potter, completely different style of managers. Like I look at City, for example, because they've got an identity to their club. Once Pep leaves, they will find a manager that will plays to that sort of identity.
It pains me to hear that. It pains me, but it's absolutely fact.
Yeah, like they'll find someone like Enrique who can take it on further on. They have that identity of playing some possession football, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean, the tiki-taka, whatever. We don't have that. We really don't have an identity. I thought our identity in previous years was like playing defensive football, counter-attacking football, but then in recent years it's just been all over the place. It's just
it's a little bit of everything now.
Yeah, it's just no plan. There's no structure. DUF, no DUF. I think that's the main problem, is that a DUF has not been placed for many, many years. And that DUF can definitely find the right profile of managers, rather than also with the right profile of players as well. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, because if you still stick by Tuchel and bring him a DUF, you can may see a different style. You may see a different Tuchel. You may see a different approach to the market, to everything. So it's obvious that, look, when Tuchel's specialist is coaching the players, working with the players, it's not looking at the other players from other clubs, looking at in the transfer market, looking at the right profiles. That's not his job. That's a scout's job. That's a DUF job. That I don't know what Todd Boehly really expected here, to be honest. It's very confusing. It's very, very confusing to me.
Yeah. And by the way, yes, Gaurav, that's a big question. Because kaun karega Tuchel manage? That is the biggest question for me, because as in what is happening with Conte, don't be surprised, people. Don't be surprised. It has happened with Conte. It has happened with Ancelotti. We have seen those managers. Jose Mourinho, of course. How can I forget? Those are managers who've gone into other clubs and they have played against Chelsea. Lampard now as well. So there are 4 names that I already mentioned who are in the recent past Chelsea Football Club managers, and arguably 4 managers who have been managers at very important times. And I think either directly or indirectly have an inkling in history. And this is the 5th manager who's going to play against Chelsea Football Club at some point in time. And that is going to be transitioning to the players that has already begun, in my opinion. Because our players ka bhi, at some point in time, they are also about 25, 30 years of age people. And they are like young men who are like, they will get affected by, okay, there is no continuity at this club. And that's where something that, okay, I have that, an arrow just behind my head and I need to be performing. Or if I don't perform as well, I have player power. That's what we are going towards. Will it bring week in, week out mentality? That is the main problem. As in, who can get that? Probably someone who can manage the egos. But talking about Tuchel, what's your call, bro? I think, by the way, Leipzig have sacked their manager. Don't tell me Tuchel will end up managing Werner again, because being a German as well, that's quite possible. As in, what's your thought? the Tuchel style, where does it fit well? And we'll come back to our club as well, of course.
It probably suits German football. But I don't think he'll manage another club for a while. I think he'll take a break. He definitely needs a break, to be honest. You can tell he looks stressed in the press conferences and interviews that he's done in the last few weeks. Stressed. I think he needs to take time off, maybe a year of football management. But yeah, like I said, German football, it probably suits what he wants: high pressing, intensity, quick players. It suits German football. That's German football. He did well at Dortmund. Might happen again. Who knows? I don't know. Actually, no, that would not happen again because they've fallen out with Tuchel. But something to do with German football, German clubs. Which club? I'm not too sure.
Come on, Ragnick is surely not coming, and he's happy with Austria, I believe so. But anyway, we are hopefully being joined also with the United Road, and because I want some opposition view as well as couch critic in maybe half an hour. Tuchel to Villa is surely a good bet. Well, again, Tuchel, someone who's won the World Club Cup as well as the Champions League. Yes, I know he's not kind of won the Premier League, but no disrespect to Villa, I think Tuchel can do better. Honestly speaking, much better. In fact, talking you much love to you, bro. But again, yes, absolutely. Zidane will make the club spend around 300 million for his style of players. And that's the thing. Now there are reports, and by the way, Manav, good point. This absolutely we discussed the director of football, but in my opinion, you know what? Fine. I'm just reading the reports. It'll take around 15 million pounds, or rather, let me just recheck it. I think it's 15 to 25 million, somewhere in between, to sack Tuchel. Of course, there will be a severance amount paid to him, right? It's not Tuchel walking away, remember. And along with that, if in case Graham Potter comes, we are talking about 10 to 15 million there as well to pay to Brighton. And we're talking about potentially a new player. And yet again, the same cycle, bro, as in, and I know these are new owners, they have the money, probably it's a consortium, and we have balanced our books. I understand all that. But come on, as in this same money, probably, and I think there was a very good point made by Divyanshu that at some point in time, yes, Rafinha and Kunde definitely wanted Barcelona, same with Lewandowski. But if we had broken the bank like we did in case of Kukurea, there could have been that we could have got those players probably which Boehly himself wanted as well. And that's where probably you're not understanding the situation. Like going back to square one is what Boehly and co are doing because of that reason alone. So in your opinion, in terms of transfers alone, what do you think were the transfers that probably was pushed onto Tuchel? I'm still guessing that there was a fight because of that, when something's happened. But do you think among the transfers which are made, you don't see that transfer, you were surprised by that coming in under Tuchel?
Well, which transfer was this?
Any transfers that happened this window, right? Do you think any of the transfers? Because sometimes those stories come out later, but I'm pretty sure. Like for example, Zakaria, right? Tuchel doesn't play with a single pivot. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, it's the Cucurella transfer is an interesting one from Brighton. Colwell as well. That was an interesting one. That sort of swap deal connection to Brighton. Maybe they had some ideas that we'll bring Potter in one day. I think maybe we should bring Cucurella in for Potter. But the signings for Fofana, I think Tuchel wanted Fofana. He got Fofana. And he got Cucurella. I don't know if Cucurella was a Tuchel signing or not. I'm not too sure about that one. But I think he wanted Fofana, he wanted Aubameyang, he got them too. Zakaria, I think that was just a panic, literally a panic. And I think Todd Boehly was like, no, I'm going to sign a midfielder in this case. And I don't think Tuchel wanted a midfielder. Tuchel didn't even want a midfielder. He even said in his interviews, press conferences, wherever it is, that we've got enough midfielders and we probably don't need more. We don't need more. We can go with what we have, but we still assigned one. Maybe there was some sort of clash between Tuchel and Todd in terms of that. So, and Aubameyang as well. So, I don't know. I don't know how they decided with these transfers now. Did Todd listen to Tuchel fully, or did he just listen half? I'm not too sure. Bro.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Let me just take in some opposition view and take a few comments as well. Yes, by the way, a lot of people are watching. Again, shout out to CFC Fahim and as well as the United Road. As in, I know that it's a short notice. So thanks by Aane ke liye, first of all. By Anshuman, And I know before that, I know Fahim, you got to go, bro. So big up to Fahim. And
Big up.
again, Fahim's channel link is below. So people, Fahim is here always, talking about it. But yes, we'll be discussing hopefully some positive news, man, in the next few hours. I know that me and Darren discussed quickly that there is a faint, very, very faint chance that maybe Boehly, just realizes his mistake, but it's not going to be. We know that is a new manager, but hopefully, we'll build something from that. So big up to you.
Big up. Take care.
Okay. So भाई अंशुमन क्या लग रहा है आपको यार? मतलब आई नो दैट ग्लेजर्स आउट आप बोल रहे हो, मतलब आपको क्या लग रहा है? इट्स क्लियर इन अमेरिकन मेंटालिटी दैट इज कमिंग टू पिक्चर. मैं नहीं बिलीव करता उसमें, लेकिन व्हाट आर योर ओपिनियंस?
In my opinion, definitely that way, bhaiya. Decision taken in total haste. Matlab, why you even backing your manager with like almost 300 million? We are not willing to give him like, at least 10-15 games. मतलब कोई लॉजिक नहीं है, कोई सेंस नहीं है. I think the turning point is Ronaldo. Boehly, we all know how big fan he is when it comes to Ronaldo. So he is someone that, Boehly, I think he's taking this as, this is my club now, and he's basically acting in the transfer window. He is dealing with all the stuff. So he's like, all right, if you don't want him, that's fine. But since you are not performing, but yeah, 6 games, just 7 games, absolute diabolical decision in my opinion. Because when you look at the names which are available in the market, Tuchel की क्वालिटी का है नहीं कोई.
वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ भाई. लोग बोल रहे हैं सिमियोने है. भाई सिमियोने की फुटबॉल देखे हो आप लोग? मतलब मैं चैनल चेंज कर देता हूँ भाई.
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर ट्यूकल को अगर लोग बोलते हैं डिफेंसिव मैनेजर है, और अगर वही लोग बोल रहे हैं कि भाई सिमियोनी को ले आओ,
हाँ,
तो मतलब कौन सा फुटबॉल चल रहा है ये?
हाँ, देखो पोचेटिनो का मैं समझ सकता हूँ इन टर्म्स ऑफ फुटबॉल, लेकिन भाई वो भी जीता क्या है आज तक? प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट हैज भाई पीएसजी के साथ नहीं जीत पाया यार. इमेजिन टूकल वाज सैक्ड बिफोर दैट. पीएसजी का था, टूकल वाज मोर सक्सेसफुल. सिंपल एज दैट. आप सोचो, आप जो बंदा मेसी को परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाया, आप थिंक अबाउट इट, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट पोचेटिनो. एंड यस, ग्रैम पॉटर इज वंडरफुल यार. मैं वापस से बोलता हूँ यार अंशुमन, मैं आपसे भी बात कर चुका हूँ बहुत बार इस टॉपिक में. देखिए यार, मतलब एवरीवन वाचिंग, दैट इंक्लूड्स एवरी फैन आउट देयर, एवरी फुटबॉल फैन. भाई फुटबॉल इज नॉट अबाउट जस्ट सेक्सी फुटबॉल. दैट इज वन पार्ट ऑफ फुटबॉल दैट यू मे हैव एन एफिनिटी टुवर्ड्स. आप अगर अर्ली 2000 देखते ना, मेरे जैसे जो सेरिया शुरू किया देखना, आप बोलते हैं भाई यूवेंटस एसी मिलान क्या रद्दी फुटबॉल खेल रही है. और दोज मैनेजर्स एंड व्हाई वाज कैपेलो रेस्पेक्टेड फॉर ऑल दोस डेकेड्स? Capello was respected before the England job, right? He was really respected. और आप देखिए the kind of football Capello plays is not very dissimilar to Tuchel. आप actually carefully देखिए, he is one of the all-time great managers उस समय. Ancelotti, yes, he played nice football, लेकिन Ancelotti at Everton, आप compare करके देखो. तो at some point you have to have a team that you need, and that team needs to listen to you. Yes, I agree. मैं खुद बोल चुका हूँ यार अंशुमन कि भाई टूकल को बैक फोर खिलाना चाहिए. ऐसे एज इट इज हम लीग नहीं जीत रहे, वो पक्की बात है. तो बैक फोर जाओ, कंसीड करेंगे, गो लैम्पार्ड फॉर हाफ अ सीजन एंड सी व्हाट हैपेंस, एंड देन मे बी गो बैक टू योर प्राइम इंटरेस्टेड 5 एट द बैक. लेकिन वो चीज वो कर रहा था बेचारा. लास्ट 6 गेम्स में आप देखो, 2-3 गेम्स में बैक फोर खिलाया है. ठीक है, तो क्या चीज जो एकदम नापसंद, मतलब एक होता है ना, यू कैन से ट्रांसफर विंडो, लेकिन फुटबॉल पिच पर भी कुछ हुआ है. डू यू थिंक लाइक द कॉन्टे एपिसोड जो हुआ, those are things that have probably not, मतलब एक होता है ना ओनर्स की, how dare you do that, you're representing Chelsea Football Club, मतलब जो हैंडशेक के मोमेंट हुआ था, मतलब do you think it's more to do with एक PR image?
I don't think so. कौन सी image? Todd Boehly की कौन सी image है?
Exactly, वो तो बनाना शुरू किया बस.
तेरी खुद की कुछ औकात नहीं है भाई अभी इंग्लिश फुटबॉल में. If it was just Roman, I would have totally understood, कि उसका कुछ code of conduct होगा behind the back room or something. So basically you give this guy 270 million and you basically say, so अभी मैं यहाँ पे आने से पहले I was doing the same thing, it was basically, हम कल यूरोपा की बात कर रहे थे, but most of the times it was, about Chelsea today, because यार ट्यूकल को सैक करने पे ना basically even United fans are shocked. ठीक है, because चलो ठीक है, obviously we are having a laugh because he is gone.
यार मैं वही बात कर रहा था ना यूनाइटेड फैंस से, they are happy man, they are happy क्योंकि you have an available manager for the future. To be honest about
exactly.
it.
मैं कभी बोला था, people who laughed at us after 2 games, we have seen. Chelsea के लिए ये फेज नया है, for Chelsea fans this is a new phase. हमारा फेज तो पीछे 10 साल से वही है, where we have brought in managers, we have let them go without backing them up. At least you guys have backed your managers. उसके बाद अगर उन्होंने परफॉर्म नहीं करा है, then बट दिस इज शॉकिंग. मतलब 6 गेम्स.
देखो यार, मतलब मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड एग्जांपल, बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया अंशुमन ने. देखिए मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड हो गया, बार्सिलोना भी हो गया. आई थिंक मैं सादिक भाई से बात कर रहा था कुछ देर पहले बाबा के साथ, तो इट वाज क्लियर कि देयर आर क्लब्स. अगेन हम ऐसे स्केपगोट बना दिए जाते हैं बिकॉज अगेन पीपल हु डू नॉट नो द चेल्सी हिस्ट्री, अगेन नो डिसरेस्पेक्ट टू देम. लेकिन भाई अगर आप देखो ना मेरे चैनल में पहले सीजन में लास्ट ईयर मेरा कंटेंट ही ऐसा था कि मैं आई स्टिक आउट माय नेक एंड से दैट ये हमारी हिस्ट्री है. आप देखे पढ़िए, आप देखिए, यू विल बी योरसेल्फ थिंक ओ वाओ चेल्सी हैव अ हिस्ट्री. वो जो चीज है ना चेल्सी में वी आर बीइंग मेड द स्केपगोट. क्योंकि हाँ ये एग्री, लास्ट 15 साल में हमने लेफ्ट साइड सेंटर किया है सैक, लेकिन एट सम पॉइंट आफ्टर विनिंग द क्लब वर्ल्ड कप, मैंने पोस्ट किया, अंशुमन ने भी लाइक किया उसको, देखिए यार 1 साल पहले अंशुमन एग्जैक्टली 1 ईयर अगो सितंबर फर्स्ट वीक की बात है, ही वाज द कोच ऑफ द ईयर इन द एंटायर वर्ल्ड. ठीक है, आप देखिए. एंड मानस को मैं एड्रेस करना चाहता हूँ क्विकली अंशुमन, एक सेकंड. लेकिन ये चीज में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि यस आई नो लॉट ऑफ यंग फैंस आर आल्सो लुकिंग, जो नए नए बने हैं चेल्सी फैंस एज वेल. देखिए यार एक चीज है, आप कोई भी मैनेजर के, आप कोई भी क्लब के फैन बन जाओ, प्लेयर के फैन बन जाओ ना, एट द एंड इट इज ऑल अबाउट लविंग फुटबॉल, लविंग योर क्लब. ठीक है, फॉर मी आप अभी तक देख लो यहाँ तक, आई डोंट नो इफ यू कैन सी रॉबिन की नेदरलैंड्स जर्नी में जर्सी सपोर्ट करता हूँ. ऑनेस्टली आई वाज अ रॉबिन फैन. ठीक है, बिग टाइम. मे बी मैं उससे पहले देखता था जोला को, देखता था ऑल दोस थिंग, लेकिन वही रॉबिन को देखने के बाद प्यार हो गया प्रॉपर फुटबॉल के साथ ना. लेकिन वो गया तो मैं जैसे मानस फील करे वैसे ही फील कर रहा था. बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू नो इट इज ऑल आप, यू नो दैट प्लेयर, यू नो दैट मैनेजर बिकॉज ऑफ द क्लब, बिकॉज ऑफ द स्पोर्ट. तो ट्राई एंड यू नो गेट द लव आउट ऑफ स्पोर्ट. आप अगेन देयर विल बी अप्स एंड डाउन, दिस पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ. लेकिन इट्स अनफॉर्चुनेट. अगेन या अंशुमन प्लीज यार कंटिन्यू, आप कुछ बोल रहे थे.
नहीं, मैं वही बोल रहा था कि यू नो व्हेन इट कम्स टू, मैं एक ही एग्जांपल देना चाहता कि यूनाइटेड का एग्जांपल आपके सामने है, यू नो बार्सिलोना का एग्जांपल सामने है. बट यू गाइस हैव वन ट्रॉफी, सैक भी किया है तो यू गाइस हैव वन ट्रॉफीज. रोमन वाज टोटली डिफरेंट. यू नो हियर यू आर बैकिंग समवन विद ऑलमोस्ट 300 मिलियन, तो उसको भाई अपनी टीम खिलाने दो ना. यू नो एज अ फुटबॉल एज अ ओनर बेसिकली ऑफ चेल्सी, मेरे को नहीं लगता बॉयली के पास 5% की भी नॉलेज है हाउ फुटबॉल रियली वर्क्स. You know, वो उसने ट्रांसफर विंडो में शो कर दिया ऑलरेडी.
It's his first job in a field of football which he calls soccer. देखो यार, again I will back my club owner, लेकिन at this point in time I am against him. I'll be very honest about it. यहाँ पर कोई मैं ग्रे एरिया है नहीं. ठीक है, मैं डायरेक्टली बोल रहा हूँ कि बर्ली इज नॉट द वे. मतलब वही है जैसे यूजिन थे, अगेन स्पर्स फैन कैन रिलेट टू इट. लेवाई जो डिक्टेटरशिप कर रखा है टॉटनहम में इतने सालों से, वही कर रखा है. और क्या कर रखा है, अभी फाइनली कॉन्टे है इसलिए उसकी नहीं चल रही कुछ महीनों के लिए बस. लेकिन दैट्स व्हाट लेवाई हैज डन एंड दैट्स व्हाट
अगले सीजन में देख लेना, ही विल बी बैक टू स्क्वाड 1. और इस सीजन भी अगर देखो, अगर इस सीजन भी कॉन्टे ने जितना हाथ पैर मारा है उसके हिसाब से व्हाट दे हैव नॉट स्पेंड दैट मच मनी. जितना हाथ पैर कॉन्टे मार रहा था, ये दे दो मुझे, पॉट ऑरेंज दे दो, ये ले आओ, फलाना ले आओ, यू नो, लेके कौन सा आया, चलो ठीक है रिचार्लिसन लाए हैं, ओवर प्राइस किया है मेरे हिसाब से. You know, and he is basically at this point of time, to be very honest, he is even worse than Ed Woodward. You know, क्योंकि Ed Woodward जो है ना, वो मैनेजर इतनी जल्दी सैक नहीं करता था. चलो ठीक है, एटलीस्ट गिव हिम सम टाइम. ठीक है, अगर स्क्वाड बनाने के लिए अगर चलो पैसे उसने बहुत ही अनशन जगह पे डाले हैं, बट यहाँ पे तो भाई अगर यू आर ये कोच के साथ तुम भाई चैंपियंस लीग जीते हो, ठीक है, यू आर बेसिकली सैकिंग द कोच आफ्टर 6 गेम्स. मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि मिड सीजन है भाई कि 18-19 गेम के बाद यू नो Chelsea, oh my God, you know, it's so much in trouble. 20-25 पॉइंट.
मैं यही पूछने वाला था अंशुमन, और ये सब लोग इन द चैट, even you said, भाई at some point in time मैं तो बोलता बहुत ज्यादा, you know, social media और media in general has a large thing to play, especially being American owners. उनका basically, you know, just एक होता है ना exposure to social media will be much more, I believe. That's what मेरी thinking है. आर्सेनल लेते हैं, हम बात किए थे आर्सेनल से, when you know फहीम एंड टैरन और ईयर, तो भाई आर्सेनल का लेते हैं. पीपल आफ्टर इवन टॉटनहम 4-1 जीती थी साउथहैम्पटन के साथ एक वीकेंड के बाद. सब लोग बोल रहे थे भाई कॉन्टे इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग, भाई जिता लेगा लीग को, जैसे चेल्सी के लिए जिताया था. भाई फुटबॉल एक हफ्ते में नहीं जीता जाता. आर्सेनल यस दे डिड फैंटास्टिक लेवल, लेकिन आप अगर देखो टॉप 6 जो हम बिग 6 बुलाते हैं ट्रेडिशनली, उनके फिक्सचर्स देखो तो आर्सेनल एक्चुअली ऑन पेपर हैड द इजीएस्ट फिक्सचर्स फॉर द फर्स्ट 5 गेम्स. ठीक है,
तो हमारे अगेंस्ट तो देख लो,
राइट. और हमारा यस आई एग्री दैट वी डिडंट हैव एज डिफिकल्ट फिक्सचर्स एज मे बी अ कपल ऑफ देम, लेकिन एट द एंड ऑफ द डे भाई लीड्स इज अ प्रॉपर राइवल. मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड फैन विल बी एबल टू टेल भाई मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड लीड्स और चेल्सी लीड्स, भाई लड़ाई होती है पिच पर लिटरली. तो वैसा एक मैच में हारना इज समथिंग व्हिच इज रियली बैड. बट वुड यू सैक? नो. एंड अगेन हम डिनामो ज़ाग्रेब, या आई नो द रिजल्ट इज नॉट इनटू इट, पहले ही हो गया था. ये बस it's kind of put the nail on the coffin. लेकिन अगेन Dinamo Zagreb अवे, अंशुमन आपको याद होगा चैंपियंस लीग नाइट्स में, इवन एलेक्स फर्गसन के डेज में, was it easy going to Croatia and beating a side? Please tell me.
देखो भैया, कहीं पे भी कोई सा भी अवे गेम इज नॉट इजी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ठीक है। एटमॉस्फेयर टोटली डिफरेंट होता है, यू नो, व्हेन यू आर गोइंग, बहुत ज्यादा टेम्परेचर का भी इश्यूज होता है एट टाइम्स, यू नो, यू प्ले एट फ्रीजिंग टेम्परेचर्स। सो पता है सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत क्या हुई है इस विंडो में? आई थिंक इट्स बॉयली इज डूइंग मोर देन एनीवन एल्स डूइंग, ठीक है। आप मतलब बॉयली वाज लाइक अ हेडलेस चिकन, यू नो, गोइंग फॉर एवरीवन, यू नो, ही वेंट फॉर कुंडे, उसको कुंडे नहीं मिला, he went for delete, उसको delete नहीं मिला, he went for
लाविया यार, लाविया, that was the funniest story. लाविया जो स्कोर किया ना, नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग जाता है 50 मिलियन देता है साउथहैम्पटन को, दे दो भाई हमें। भाई तुझे ये नहीं पता 15 दिन पहले साउथहैम्पटन में आया है वो 15 मिलियन में।
Exactly.
इतना बेवकूफी कौन करता है?
That's why I compared him to Ed Woodward, you know, कि Ed Woodward at that point of time, you know, that's what he used to do, कि ठीक है, मतलब उसको मैनेजर से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, ठीक है। He will just get a big name signing, वो भले ही तुम्हारे स्ट्रक्चर में फिट हो या ना हो, ठीक है, वो तुम्हारे स्ट्रक्चर में फिट हो या ना हो, उससे उसको घंटे का फर्क नहीं पड़ता। He's just going to get you those guys जिससे उसको PR के थ्रू, उसको शॉर्ट सेल्स के थ्रू उसको पैसा मिलता है, सिंपल सी बात है। So this is Boehly is doing more than anyone else, no? कि चलो ठीक है, तुम्हें फर्स्ट चॉइस नहीं मिला भाई, बट तुम एक तो बहुत ही एंड में, जस्ट लाइक वी हैव गॉट प्लेयर्स एंड में जाके, यू नो, we lost the games, then we acted, तब जाके हम लेके आए the likes of, you know, Casemiro and the likes of Anthony. So but yeah, ये बॉयली की करामात ज्यादा है, and I think मेरे हिसाब से the breaking point is Ronaldo. You know, I think ये बॉयली का जो typical American mentality है,
सितंबर की बात है, हो सकता है recent हो, last day of transfer window लगता है।
Yeah, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि ये जो इनकी mentality है ना, that's franchise mentality. You know, you have to have that one franchise player, you know, कि भाई जिसके इर्द गिर्द सब कुछ, यू नो, एवरीथिंग इज अराउंड हिम। तो ये वो वाली मेंटालिटी है अमेरिकन स्पोर्ट, जहां पे यू हैव लाइक वन और टू, जो बोलते हैं ना, फ्रेंचाइज प्लेयर्स, उस तरीके से हैं, और उसके बाद बाकी के उसके अराउंड इर्द गिर्द टीम बनाओ। तो बेसिकली ही वांटेड टू शो कि भाई देख, यू नो, एज अ न्यू ओनर आई ब्रॉट रोनाल्डो टू द क्लब। ट्यूकल ने बोला भाई मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे ऐसा बंदा चाहिए जो मेरे हिसाब से खेले, you know, and I think he has brought that into perspective, और उसके बाद उसने उसको खत्म कर दिया है। सो यार
ओबामियांग क्या सोचेगा, मुझे क्या डर है ना, मतलब वही है प्लेयर पावर की बात होती है। बाय द वे बिग अप टू द मेंबर्स यार, आई नो काफी मेंबर्स ज्वाइन कर दिए, आई नो मैं आज इस मूड में हूं यार, सॉरी मैं बिग अप नहीं किया होगा भाई। शाउट आउट है डेफिनेटली टू ऑलमाइटी गोट NS Sports TV, दैट्स निपुन इन द हाउस। निपुन, एज अ चेल्सी फैन, डू यू नो ऐड इन योर कमेंट्स डेफिनेटली इन द चैट, एज वेल एज बेसिकली आई नो शाश्वत भी कर रहे हैं, शाश्वत बैनर्जी, एज वेल एज यू नो देयर इज टेरेन एज वेल एज मानव। भाई अगेन थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर जॉइनिंग एवरीवन। अगेन यार मैं यहाँ पे लिंक करने वाला हूँ द यूनाइटेड रोड, लेकिन आपको पता ही है स्क्रीन पर दिख रहा है आपको द यूनाइटेड रोड, प्लीज गिव यू नो अंशुमन मेरे भाई को भी है सब्सक्राइब एब्सोल्युटली। लेकिन आप सब लोग यहाँ पर देख रहे हैं ना जो भी है, देखिए ये स्टार प्लेयर की बात है, प्रभात ने बहुत ही अच्छा कमेंट मारा है इन अ स्ट्रेंज वे। अगेन हम दूसरा साइड भी देखते हैं, आई नो पीपल वांट अस टू स्पीक अबाउट फ्यूचर, हम उस पर भी आएंगे एब्सोल्युटली इन जस्ट अ फ्यू मिनट्स। लेकिन भाई देखिए when it comes to basically a star player, maybe just maybe you have a great point Prabhat, क्योंकि आप देखिए be it under Sarri, be it under Conte, you know, be it under even Lampard to some extent, I think हमेशा हमारे पास रहा है वो एक स्टार प्लेयर। मतलब one in recent is obviously I'm referring to Eden Hazard mainly, right, जो especially Sarri और Conte के दिनों में था। तो उस समय मुझे याद है Eden Hazard used to bail us out of any situation, वो रहता ना just give him the ball और भाई इंशाल्लाह, वो वाला चीज। तो वो वाला चीज, हाँ आई एग्री इट इज नॉट देयर, एंड दैट इज द होल रीजन व्हाई वी हैड गॉट टुकल। आपको याद है तो हम बहुत ओवर डिपेंडेंट थे। वो कब हमें नजर आया? अंडर लैम्पार्ड नजर आया क्लियरली, बिकॉज लैम्पार्ड ने पहले सीजन में टॉप 4 किया विदाउट इवन गेटिंग समवन इन द ट्रांसफर विंडो, ओनली पुलिसिक केम जो पहले ऑलरेडी डिटरमिन्ड था, राइट। लेकिन बाद में विलियन वेंट, ठीक है, यस विलियन वाजंट अ ग्रेट गोल स्कोरर, लेकिन उसकी कमी खली, और सेकंड सीजन में लगा जब एक्सपीरियंस काउंट्स ना, व्हेन यू वांटेड एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर्स हु जस्ट टेक्स थिंग्स विद द स्क्रफ ऑफ द नेक, हमें नहीं मिल रहा था, बिकॉज चेल्सी की मेंटालिटी यही थी, जो भी प्लेयर्स है ना एक बंदे को देते थे, दे होप फॉर द बेस्ट, यू नो, वो वाला चीज। टुकल आए क्यों? ही वांटेड मोर टीम स्पिरिट। आप देखिए द वे दैट वी प्लेड, यस काफी लोग बोल रहे थे नेगेटिव है, प्रैग्मेटिक बहुत ज्यादा है, लेकिन भाई चैंपियंस लीग जितना कोई मतलब लड्डू पेड़ा नहीं है, सच में बोल रहा हूँ। आई नो डी मटेयो ने किया, लेकिन टुकल की सिचुएशन वाज फार वर्स देन डी मटेयो, कंसीडरिंग जो हुआ इन द फ्यूचर विद टुकल एंड द क्लब।
Okay, and when you look at the competition you have defeated on the way to winning the championship,
and 2012 में तो फिर भी क्लोज था यार, वी गॉट लक, आई हैव टू एडमिट 2021 में who can say we got luck?
नहीं, luck नहीं, मैं आज उसी पे बात कर रहा था, you know, when someone said that it was now that you know he is gone so early, many people will talk about his at a fluke. मैं भाई देखो fluke जो बोल रहा है ना वो fluke नहीं है. चलो ये बोल सकते हो कि no it was the new manager, team was not determined to show. जो भी showcase किया they ended up winning and the quality of teams they have defeated on the way. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये सिटी जैसा कि काराबाओ में किसी को भी हरा के ट्रॉफी जीत लो. You know they defeated Real Madrid. City was the favorite. You know they kept a clean sheet against City in the final. So ये ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई तुम ऐसे ही जैसा आपने बोला लड्डू पेड़ा बिना बेचे हुए नो ऐसा नहीं हो जाता कि आप जाओ और क्लीन शीट रख लो अगेंस्ट वन ऑफ द बेस्ट टीम्स इन द वर्ल्ड. सो यू नो
और यहाँ पर I know
for the manager and this season I think and I एक रिपोर्ट लिख रहा था मैं भैया about Boehly's frustration. You know आपको पता है right, so I was writing a report on Boehly's frustration and basically the intermediary, you know, he was basically talking about how Boehly is frustrated on the previous management. So Boehly basically सोच रहा है कि जो previous management की गलतियां हैं उसके चक्कर में Boehly को almost 100 से 100+ million extra देने पड़े in the transfer market. You know, because जो intermediary था, he was talking about how, you know, one of your best players, Rudiger, he was not given the contract that he wanted. Right. You know,
मैंने actually वो article share भी किया था, to be very honest, and you're absolutely right. मतलब that article was a revealing factor कि भाई there were more issues at the club than people know about. You know, there were definitely more issues. और वो ये मरीना का आ जाता है ना, मरीना देख लो चेक हो गया. The fact कि Tuchel was okay with them going, क्या लगता है भाई अंशुमन? Because you have written and researched about that. जो बाद में पता लगा, maybe Todd Boehly deep down and इकबाली जो है दोनों main owners, maybe they wanted Marina and Czech, or because of Tuchel he had to let them go. Was that the thing?
नहीं भैया मुझे नहीं लगता, to be very honest, you know, Tuchel ये mindset Boehly ये mindset से आया है कि everything is you know about me. You know, वो अगर देखो if he has a bit of footballing brain, तुम भाई पूरा का पूरा structure गायब नहीं करते हो एक बार में. That's what Moyes did when he went into United. वो अपनी की पूरी टीम लेके आ गया जो यहाँ के कोचेस थे जिनको पता था कि यहाँ पे किस तरीके से खेलना है. वो वर्क विद फर्जी, उसने उसको एक बार में गायब कर दिया. यू नो दैट्स व्हाई ही स्ट्रगल्ड अ लॉट. तो यहाँ पे ना तो उसको फुटबॉल का कुछ पता है, ठीक है, ना तो उसको स्काउटिंग का कुछ पता है, यू नो उसको डील करने का कुछ पता है. एंड यू नो एज यू सेड उसका पहली जॉब है उस तरीके की. You know, and letting the likes of Czech go, Marina go. Marina का चलो जितना भी हो, Marina का at least you should have tried to kept. वो चाहे कुछ भी बोले, ठीक है, वो कुछ भी बोले, you should have at least tried to kept her till the end of the window. भाई वो तुम्हारा टीम जो है ना अगर वो सेट कर देती, उसके बाद you could have let her go. कि चलो भाई ठीक है, you know. And he was talking about how you guys should have kept Mori, you know. और 2-3 नाम और लिए हैं उसने Boehly ने. that intermediary ने कि he is frustrated about कि मतलब इनको
Tammy Abraham शायद
Tammy Abraham and you know Tomori इन सब के बारे में उसने बोला है. And plus now another saga for you guys is the Mendy's contract. You know उसको भाई तुमने नया contract offer किया है, written about it and it is less than what Kepa is earning.
वो तो जोक है, मतलब
चूतिया हूं मैं कि
नंबर 1. अरे सच में मैं बोलो ना प्रॉब्लम कहां से आ रही है ना. प्रीवियस मैनेजमेंट हैज गिवन, जैसे वो बार्सिलोना यू नो इन अ स्मॉल स्केल चेल्सी हैड डन सिमिलर थिंग. बार्सिलोना ने दिया 500,000 का बेसिकली. यहां पर चेल्सी का भी टॉकिंग अबाउट 300,000 जो केपा के पास ऑलमोस्ट है मिलता है. आई थिंक वंस वी गेट अ न्यू स्पोर्टिंग डायरेक्टर, निपुन बोल रहे हैं थिंग्स विल स्टार्ट लुकिंग गुड फॉर अस अगेन. बट निपुन दैट इज द होल पॉइंट. यस वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट हु द न्यू ओनर इज, who the new manager is going to be, who the new sporting director is going to be. लेकिन if you don't have a plan in place, how can you sack a manager in a World Cup year, ठीक है, just 5 days after the windows ends, जहां पर you have made the most expensive kind of you know signings ever in terms of totality. मतलब along with Manchester United, I think even we have overtaken Manchester United also in the last few years. So आप देखिए it is time that basically they had to back, or of course what was the whole point of backing the manager? I know they themselves didn't do it, लेकिन भाई every report said that they wanted to back the manager. ये एक data driven है owner और he looks at long term perspective. चुकुमेका हो गया, कैसेडे हो गए, ये सब long term signings ही है. We are not looking at them perform this season. तो clearly हमें accept करना था top 4. Clearly Boehly को लग रहा था भाई top 4 भी नहीं आने वाली. But like Anshuman said, because he's new to football in Europe, he's taken decisions along with others too quickly because उसको पता नहीं भाई मैच, मतलब लैम्पार्ड के सीजन में याद है ना आपको, December 1st को हम top of the table थे, December last में हम हो गए थे almost 10th in the table. That is EPL football for you, नहीं क्या अंशुमन?
तो शायद आपका पूरा महीना ही where you went around like winless, जहाँ पे ये क्या draw हो गए थे, 7-8 games थे and rest of the games you lost. So yeah, at this point of time, as I said, under pressure आके Glazers ने पैसे खर्चे हैं, and you guys, you had to like definitely spend because आपका पूरा backline ही गायब हो गया था. But this decision is shocking. ये किस तरीके से कोई justify कर सकता है? To be very honest, I don't know. Even as a United fan, obviously, as I said, I'm definitely happy that I don't have to deal with a manager of Tuchel's class, Tuchel's caliber. I have never rated him as a great offensive manager, but defensively and the tweaks he can make. Yeah, tactically, that's what he can do with the squad that he got. It's not like a cheap squad. It's not like average squad. He made the squad good. He improved certain players. He brought in certain players. But at this point of time, as I said, as a United fan, I'm definitely enjoying it because that's what we have received throughout the last 10 years. So
yeah. अच्छा यहाँ पर ना I know that Anshuman has to go in just a few minutes, लेकिन भाई उससे पहले ना देखिए ये जो प्लेयर्स की बात हो रही है ना, at some point I will have to admit, yes I know इस sacking की बात हो रही है भी, मे बी आप बोलोगे मैं reactionary हो रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये clear है यार, after what has happened in the last few weeks, in fact months मैं तो बोलूँगा, even last season, भाई टूकल ने जो करवाया था ना प्लेयर से, he got them to overachieve, simple as that. Yes, they are not cheap players जैसा अंशुमन ने बोला, but they are potentially great players. They are not there yet. Tuchel ne made them great for that 1-2 months in the Champions League campaign. And of course, आप देखो तो not just that. It's not a secret. Maybe things would have been different अगर Tuchel जीते 2 FA Cup से होता ना. Someone who's won close to 7-8 trophies वो नहीं कर सकते थे sacking. वही है. We lost to penalties to Liverpool, twice in the last season on penalties. So I think somewhere down the line there is amount of luck. Lekin you have to give it to Tuchel as well. But again, we'll quickly talk about the new ones. Yes, technical director new wala bhai, as per reports, वही ex-Liverpool technical director is supposed to be one of the main targets. अब let's see if he's able to come or not. Again, I don't think audition लिया गया है. Yes, hello to you as well. लेकिन अंशुमन मैनेजर की बात कर लेते हैं क्विकली बिफोर यू गो. मतलब एज एन ऑपोजिशन व्हाट डू यू रेकन? मतलब आई नो हमने पॉटर की बात की है, ही डज नॉट हैव टू दैट मच एक्सपीरियंस टू मैनेज द ईगो जो प्लेयर पावर है चेल्सी में, लेकिन जिडान प्रीवियसली ही वाज लिंक्ड टू मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड एज वेल, मुझे याद है. व्हाट डू यू रेकन अबाउट हिम? ब्रेंडन रॉजर्स आई होप नॉट. पोचेटिनो तो भाई एकदम ही नहीं. मतलब लॉट ऑफ नेम्स है. पीपल आर गोइंग एज मच टू से व्हाई डोंट वी गेट अ ज़ोला और टेरी, जहां तक प्लेयर्स एटलीस्ट सुनेंगे एटलीस्ट टिल नवंबर, और फिर वर्ल्ड कप के बाद लाओ किसी को.
वर्ल्ड कप के टाइम तक तुम्हारा सीजन ही खत्म हो जाएगा बिकॉज़ मैचेस आर कमिंग थिक एंड फास्ट. इफ ज़ोला एंड टेरी डजंट वर्क, it's just 6 games, but वर्ल्ड कप के टाइम तक it would be like 17-18 games. ठीक है, अगर उस टाइम तक अगर तुम्हारा ये वर्क नहीं करता द एक्सपेरिमेंट, you guys will be out of top 4 contention. A club like Chelsea with almost 300 million in the window, you cannot afford, to miss out on Champions League first. Second thing is the likes of Zidane. First of all, Zidane, he's not going to move. He's just waiting for Deschamps to, lead France to this World Cup.
इसीलिए वो न्यूज़ आ रहा है about Deschamps as well, क्योंकि again Deschamps also has a connection.
Yeah, I don't think he's good enough for Chelsea. When it comes to leading a France team is totally different. ठीक है, वहां पे भी ईगो पावर है, but then you are playing for national team, तो वहां पे थोड़ा national pride आ जाता है. ठीक है, तो and we have seen कि भाई Deschamps के पिछले देख लो ना वर्ल्ड कप के जीतने के बाद से the struggle for Deschamps, it's real. मतलब players बहुत ज्यादा बोल सकते हो motivated नहीं है because they think they have won it. Obviously Euro में फिर से they misfired. So at this point of time, as you said, I don't think Pochettino is the guy to go. उस बंदे की mentality है, वो बंदे पता नहीं क्या ही करता है, वो भगवान जाने क्या करता है.
मैं तो गाली दिया हूं भाई, मतलब मुझे पता ही है, मैं जोक भी नहीं कर रहा भाई. सब लोग जो है चैट में जो मुझे आई नो काफी लोग मुझे प्यार भी करते हैं भाई, लेकिन कुछ लोग हैं प्रीटी श्योर आप लोग क्लिप ढूंढोगे और निकाल के पब्लिश करोगे भाई. पोचेटिनो को मैंने किसी को गाली दी ना, वो है पोचेटिनो. आई रियली व्हेन ही वाज पीएसजी मैनेजर, जो मेसी को नहीं खिलवा पाया यार ठीक से, आप सोचिए मतलब वो बंदा आएगा वो कैसे करे भाई. क्रिश्चियन पुलिस कोई नहीं कर पाएगा वो. टॉक अबाउट मेसी, मतलब एज मच एज टॉटनहम ने किया विदाउट साइनिंग्स, आई रिमेंबर दैट, लेकिन फिर भी भाई आई व्हाट हैज ही वन, ये बॉटम लाइन है.
मेरे हिसाब से at this point of time I am not saying कि Potter will I think Potter can make you guys stable because वो system से वाकिफ है.
League में at least we'll know what we are expecting week in week out.
What we are expecting, and plus उसको हमने देखा है कि basically makes players better. ठीक है, ईगो पावर तो चलो, ईगो पावर तो एक ऐसी चीज है जो कि कोई भी आ जाए, ठीक है, दे आर गोइंग टू स्ट्रगल एट फर्स्ट. एरिक टेन हाग भी आया तो या वो बड़े टीम में जाओगे तो वैसे कुछ बंदे तुम्हें मिलेंगे ही जिनका, तो भाई देख लो एरिक टेन हाग, समवन लाइक दैट, ही केम इन, रोनाल्डो बेंच किया, भाई आ गया ना, रोनाल्डो भी अपनी जगह पे आ गया. ही इज हैप्पी टू प्ले.
परफॉर्मेंसेस चाहिए, मेनली रिजल्ट्स आएगा तो अपने आप सुनेंगे, मतलब
एग्जैक्टली रिजल्ट्स आएगा. सो आई थिंक ही इज वन गाय जो जिसको पता है कि किस तरीके से वो सिस्टम को खिलाना है, because your team now for the last few years after contests like basically 3 at the back में 4 में देख लिया, Lampard got some good results but against bigger teams he always failed. He always failed. So 3 at the back is working for you. You still have 3 good center backs, and मैंने आप ही के चैनल पे बोला था, when you guys celebrated Koulibaly and I was said guys 40 million, ठीक है, you have got a decent defender, ठीक है, ये वर्ल्ड बीटर नहीं है, ये कुलीबली ऑफ नॉट 5 years बैक, ठीक है. तो मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में मैं देख भी रहा था, चेल्सी फैंस लाइक
और कल मेरा पोस्ट देखा आपने मैं बोला कुलीबाली कहाँ गया भाई, नापोली वाले कुलीबाली, ये कोई दूसरा है भाई.
मैंने लिख के दे दिया था भैया, मैंने आपको चैनल पे बोला था कि ही इज नॉट द कुली. लॉरेनाइटिस व्हेन यू लुक एट हाउ ही डील्स, वो बंदा अपना जो प्राइम का है ना वो जाने ही नहीं देता. फैबियन रूइज गया है बिकॉज ही डिडंट एक्सटेंडेड हिज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, ठीक है, वरना फैबियन रूइज भी रोक लेता वो, ठीक है.
और कुलीबाली का खैर एज भी 31 क्लोज टू, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग,
ही इज नॉट द सेम आफ्टर हिज इंजरी. वो पिछले 2-3 साल से एवरेज लेवल पे ही खेल रहा है.
यू आर सेइंग कुलीबाली नीड्स 3 द बैक एट दिस एज, इज व्हाट यू आर सेइंग. मतलब अगर
कुलीबाली माइट बी अ डिसेंट डिफेंडर, 3 एट द बैक में शायद वो उस तरीके से कर ले, बट यहां पे तो 3 एट द बैक में भी ही इज नॉट एबल टू सेटल.
इट टेक टाइम.
Yeah, it will take time, but मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ यार, people talked about how world class defender he is, and 40 million में जैसे you guys जैसे दुनिया जीत लियो वाली बात, तो वो नहीं था. मैंने वही बोला था, कुलीबाली can still do his job. ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई बिल्कुल ही घटिया डिफेंडर है, but I'm just saying कि वो वाला कुलीबाली नहीं है which people expected, या Chelsea fans expected कि वो उनको मिल रहा है.
यार मैं क्या बोलूं यार अंशुमन, मैं लिटरली स्ट्रीम का टाइमिंग सेट कर दिया था भाई 6:30 बजे. आई थिंक काफी मेंबर्स ने मुझे मैसेज भी किया था. मैं बोला भाई हम आ रहे लाइव 6:30 पौने 7 बजे हम लाइव होंगे, वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग यूसीएल. और सब लोग यार बोल रहे भाई हजार्ड का गोल, यार काफी चीज डिस्कस करनी थी. लेकिन अगेन लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट भाई, जब वो टुकल जब सैक हुआ है ना, दैट हैज टू ओवर राइट एवरीथिंग राइट नाउ. लेकिन हम डेफिनेटली आएंगे भाई. पोचेटिनो आएगा तो क्या करेंगे भाई, कुछ नहीं. मतलब एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आई डोंट ओन चेल्सी फुटबॉल क्लब, हम तो यार क्लब इज बिगर देन एनीथिंग. भाई बेनिटेज आया था, और मैं पोचेटिनो के बारे में बोल रहा हूँ, मैंने खुद गाली दिया था यस, लेकिन बेनिटेज मैन आज तक मैं बोल रहा हूँ आई डिस्पाइज हिम. आई डिस्पाइज बेनिटेज बिफोर, आई डिस्पाइज बेनिटेज आफ्टरवर्ड्स और ड्यूरिंग द टेन्योर. आप देखो बेनिटेज जब था 1 साल जब था ना, जो आया था इंटरिम मैनेजर जिसे, ही वाज लाइक बूड टू द हेल, मतलब बोलते ना. लेकिन हमने फिर भी यूरोपा लीग जीता. तो यू कैन आर्ग्यू दैट चेल्सी का डीएनए है कि यार वील गेट अ लॉट ऑफ चेंजेस, लेकिन हम करेंगे. लेकिन आफ्टर व्हाट पॉइंट अंशुमन, एट सम पॉइंट हमें एक सेटल होना पड़ेगा यार. मतलब वी कैन नॉट बी दैट
यू कैन टॉक अबाउट डीएनए, बट फिर जो जिस बंदे ने डीएनए बनाया और जिसके साथ मिलके बनाया, वो दोनों ही गायब हैं. वो दोनों ही गायब.
एग्जैक्टली. इसलिए मैं आत्मा ये रोमन की यहाँ
कि लोग बोलते हैं ना, पीपल यूज्ड टू से अरे दैट वी आर टू बिग टू फेल. यूनाइटेड से बोलते थे ना टू बिग टू फेल. फर्जी लेफ्ट, पता लग गया कि भाई no one is too big to fail. If you are not planning properly, no one is too big to fail. चाहे वो यूनाइटेड हो, चेल्सी हो, at this point of time भाई चेल्सी की हालत जो है ना, at this point of time with the new owners, they are basically acting like how we did after Fergie left. ठीक है, कोई प्लान नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं, हर किसी के पीछे जाओ. आपने बोला लाविया के पीछे, लास्ट मोमेंट पे आप एक और बंदे के पीछे, राफिनिया के पीछे गए, फिर रिचार्लिसन के पीछे गए, अब एंटनी गॉर्डन के पीछे गए. भाई 70 मिलियन,
कोई स्काउटिंग नहीं यार. हम लोग खेले थे एवर्टन के, याद है फर्स्ट मैच में सीजन के, उसमें बढ़िया किया बंदे ने. तो हाँ थोड़ा बहुत इंटरेस्ट था, बट वही है, मतलब वो एक ऐसा प्लेयर है जब पोटेंशियल है भाई. व्हाई वुड यू गेट अ मेसन माउंट पार्ट 3 व्हेन यू ऑलरेडी हैव अ मेसन माउंट पार्ट 2 इन गैलेगर. वो थोड़ा मतलब दैट शोज दैट प्लानिंग नहीं हुई है, इसलिए डिसएग्रीमेंट भी हुई है. इट्स वेरी क्लियर एब्सोल्युटली. लेकिन आई थिंक अंशुमन शायद अभी अंशुमन को जाना पड़ेगा शायद. नहीं अंशुमन हो गया? नहीं कोई नहीं, आई थिंक कैमरा ऑफ हुआ है. कोई इमेजिन पॉच विनिंग यूसीएल विद चेल्सी बट पेप नॉट विनिंग यूसीएल विद हालैंड. वाओ, But again, it will not happen. I don't see that happening right now, to be very honest. लेकिन भाई अगर होता है तो again would I call Tottenham or other Tottenham बोलो भाई Chelsea. Imagine पहुंच का नाम आती भाई पहले Tottenham आता मन में. Chelsea will be favorites? No, absolutely no. मैं नहीं बोलता. But again, who knows what will happen there? We can't keep sacking exactly अंकित भाई. But reason क्या था? 4 दिन पहले तो ओबा साइन किया था. वही हमने दिखा यार काफी. If you go back to the stream and see, we have discussed what BenJacobs has spoken about, what MattLaw has spoken about. हमने काफी डिस्कस किया. Of course, Taron आए थे जो actually Stamford Bridge के बगल में रहते हैं भाई. He is actually having a lot of things that he covers on TikTok as well abroad. तो भाई we had a lot of people sharing first hand information. Again वो first hand, take it with a pinch of salt. मैं ये भी बोलूंगा भाई Chelsea fans और beat Premier League fans भाई at this point यार सब लोग मौका ढूंढ रहे to kind of create stories as well. और मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा, there are clickbaits available. So be very careful in what you actually see, read and believe. ठीक है, क्योंकि at the end of the day we are talking about someone who actually served a club in Premier League, which has actually won the World Club as well as the UCL. So I think we have to be respectful of both the parties here. Hopefully, who would you take, Potter or Poch? Honestly, सच में बोलो तो यार मेरा दिल बोलता है पॉटर, लेकिन वो ये if I am actually thinking about just tactically, I might go with Poch, but I want neither. Such एकदम that's the real truth. But I know Anshuman, you have to go, bro. As in before going, यार final thoughts.
जाने से पहले वही बोला था ना कि भैया ये जो मैंने शुरुआत जिस लाइन से की थी, at this point of time you don't have anyone of that caliber. You will have to settle for less. That's the problem. कि जब तुम्हारे पास planning नहीं है, तो all of a sudden you don't have someone जो चेल्सी फुटबॉल क्लब में आके you can say he is basically the guy who can take us forward. जो चाहे वो पॉटर लाओ या पोचेटिनो लाओ, they are going to take some time. They might struggle initially. End में क्या होगा no one can predict, but they might initially struggle. So with this I will take a leave.
Thanks Anshuman. Yeah, Anshuman, again very short notice. Again, people, I have linked the United road. Yes, I know he's a United fan, but like he knows his football, as we've been following for a long time. So please give him a follow as well.
United, boo!
Couch critic in the house, definitely. Definitely we'll have
booing someone else.
It's good for anyway. And then always good to see Anshuman. Anshuman, see you soon, bro. See you. Okay, so we have Dennis. Dennis, long time no see. I know it's been pending, man. I really didn't want such an occasion, man. But please, Dennis. By the way, couch critic people, in case you're not checked out his content, you're missing out on lots. Please, Dennis, your first thoughts.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they spent what, 261 million pounds in the window. The whole notion was that
you can make it 300, Dennis, because we're going to give severance to Tuchel now, right?
Well, there you go, right? There you go. Like, I don't understand how you go from fully backing the manager, giving him the the keys to the Cadillac, the Ferrari, whatever. Yeah. And then after 6 or 7 matches, you've decided that he's no longer going to be the manager at this football club. And it goes deeper than that for me, because when you look at it from the perspective of like, what are the football people that we have at the club right now? Like, we don't have a director of football. We don't have any, the scout. They just lost the international scouting director. The only guy that we have right now that was a football man was Tuchel.
Yeah.
So structure-wise, everything right now, like if this goes pear-shaped, so we're hearing Graham Potter might come in, like, if this goes pear-shaped, we don't have a structure in place to basically absorb the fall. Like you think about Tuchel, like all the things that happened this year with the sanctioning, the squad having to manage, getting to games and not knowing how they're going to get. This is like a big, heavy lift, and it was stressful, all of that stuff. And, now you have Tuchel out, and then, in my opinion, I think what's going to happen is, and what I think it happened is, obviously he's lost the dressing room. That goes without saying. There's players that just were not performing for him. We weren't seeing high-level performances. But I also think that we have a director of football on route right now. We have somebody coming right now.
Yeah, possibly. As in, you're right. As in, otherwise, it's very, very strange, right? Because it's not just the players; it's the entire structure that probably Tuchel has also been part of it. How Todd Boehly and team are kind of running the show. So unless someone who's coming with a different ideology altogether, which probably behind doors they've discussed it Tuchel, right? And Tuchel is like, no, as in how can you do this after me spending all the time, as in something like that would have gone. Again, we are just speculating, people, but as in what do you think about the Ronaldo situation, bro? Because I'm pretty sure it was not a secret that he met George Mendes, Burley was it, before Aubameyang came in.
Yeah, no, that's been well rumored and well sourced as well, that we were well in for Ronaldo, and Boehly wanted him, and clearly Tuchel didn't, and we went for Aubameyang instead. But I wonder, so I'm wondering, you think that was what part of the reason why it led to the sack? Did you have a difference in opinion on that?
I have an entire theory, bro, if I have to just share with you. And again, people in the chat who joined late, again for you all as well, aap log bhi boliye. Like, I think it's more about, see, Todd Boehly and co, like Iqbal and everyone, like, it's a new club that they're taking. They have invested now what, not even millions, billions, considering the cost of Chelsea itself, right? Now, for them, what do they get out of Chelsea is probably that level of PR, because obviously they are not just owners of Chelsea, they are much more elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, the PR value is of high value. So for them, getting a Ronaldo would have added to that. Plus, Tuchel did not want Pulisic; they wanted Pulisic. Third reason being that what happened even on the pitch with Conte, for instance, right? Again, that is one thing which probably doesn't go in line with what the PR requirements of the club probably were. Fourth thing, Tuchel coming out and actually saying that, okay, as in I'm not really a manager, I'm a coach, because I was almost like he was sarcastic, Tuchel, that okay, I'm just supposed to be a coach here, but still I'm doing a lot more. And that coming out and telling to the media and things like that, which doesn't even say good things about how the owners are dealing with the situation. So do you have any backing to that? Like, do you think that it's more about the PR thing? But again, it's a huge risk. We're talking billions here.
Honestly,
so it might be more to it.
I mean, it would be really, really difficult for me to stomach that, to say that the reason why they sacked a brilliant manager is because of PR. You know what I mean? You don't have an understanding of how football works yet. You know what I mean? You've been watching it from the outside, and until you can get somebody in that can help basically, streamline your ideas about how you want to build a football club. I'm talking about a director of football, and maybe a manager more so than a coach, that it makes no sense to just pull the trigger. It just makes no sense, especially after the investment that you made in the summer. It just screams of short-sightedness and lack of vision. And that is a worrying thing for me, because for me, you can't spend that sort of money and then not give it time to coalesce and, come together. Unless, of course, like I said, maybe they have in mind a director of football. The director of football has who he wants to be his head coach, his manager, and it would be better to pull the trigger on that early in the season rather than wait, till a few months down the line where things get even more untenable with the playing squad. So that could be a part of it as well. I don't know, but if I don't see a director of football come in within the next couple weeks, I'm really, really worried about the direction of the football club. I'm really worried.
Yeah. And again, there's another thought. I know that I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate, or the comments in the chat that are coming in terms of suggestions. People are saying that why don't we actually, take a step back, see as to who the next, best manager is. Because yes, again, he cannot totally lie the fact that he wanted the long term. And it's a proven fact from, of course, from his time in US. That Todd Boehly and co are actually looking at a long term. They believe in a lot of data. So if they want to do the research and appoint the right manager, if it's not been done yet, so why don't we just appoint, say, maybe, I'm not saying again go get an Avram Grant or someone like a Hiddink, but maybe a Zola and Terry combination, do the job until November. Maybe the players will just respect them and make the right appointment. When after the World Cup, you might just have a Deschamps available, you might just have a Luis Enrique available. How does that sound?
Man, I mean, you still have to manage. Can either of those names that you mentioned manage the high expectations right now, right? We still have to get top 4. We still have to be able to get these players to sing from the same hymn book too. You know what I mean? Can Avram Grant, Gus Hiddink, can they motivate a squad right now? Because that's really what's happening right now, right? The squad just looks like they lack.
You know what? As in, at best, someone coming in a dressing room and maybe telling 2-3 things, maybe a Drogba, Terry might. But you're right. As in, doing that for 3 months is a bit too much of an ask, right?
I don't know. Yeah, and like, is that who's really willing to take that job for 3 months? Like I'm just gonna take it for 3 months, and then come December,
Someone who bleeds blue, bro. As in, if I had the credential, trust me, I would have raised my hand. But pretty sure I won't take that gun on my neck right now, right?
Again,
That's how
like
it is.
everything speaks to structure right now. Like it would have been great. Like in the past, we had who's the guy that's over at England right now? That was always the assistant manager.
Southgate.
Not Southgate, his assistant.
Oh, okay, yeah. Of course, Southgate's assistant. I'm forgetting the name, but obviously he was here for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and like whenever there's a succession plan, he was able to like sort of like be the go-between. And Steve Holland, thank you very much. Yeah, he was the guy that was able to like give us, a little bit of like, structure, cushion, betting in period and whatnot, because he was very familiar with the club. And since he's left, like it's just been like a real scattergun approach to everything. Like, to be honest, I'm not saying that he's the glue that held everything together, but I mean, when you make rash decisions to sack a manager and whatnot so quickly, you need somebody that can come in and just like right the ship for a period of time before you bring in somebody else. And everything right now for me is the worry is we've spent so much money to bring in this playing staff, and who's to say that the next manager that comes in even wants to be working with these players? Like it's just the same merry-go-round again and again and again. What's up, Mikhail? Big up.
Big up, Mikhail. Mikhail, as in we've been trying to, break it down, Mikhail. We are kind of lost for words at times. I know that there's a lot of theories. I did read out MattLaw's article, as well as basically, even BenJacobs and others, DavidOrnstein's. But Mikhail, quickly jumping onto you, as in Mikhail, what are your first thoughts? Is there a solution in short term?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Big up, Coach. Ankit, thanks for having me on. I was following you on Baba's stream earlier on in the morning. I was just out and about doing my.
I was sleeping, bro, and I was like, Baba, come on, surely it's a prank, right? I'm like, it's a prank, someone pranked me, man. No, it wasn't.
We all woke up to the news, so it was just disbelief for the first, hour or two, just trying to validate if this is actually true news and whatnot, and then trying to wrap my head around it. And it's like people have been saying, like it's shocking, but it's not a surprise. So it's like it was coming. It's just this soon it's strange, and kind of makes me wonder if Tuchel's got a history of falling out with owners. So maybe it came to a boil at some point after yesterday's performance. The team's been looking a little what's the word, disengaged, I guess. So some players, especially. Yes, there's new players coming in, but some of the older players are just looking like their heads elsewhere, and that at some point that comes to on the manager's shoulders to kind of have that focus across the squad in the back room, and I guess that had been building up, but nobody wanted to say it, but it had started to look like he was losing the dressing room too, and unfortunately, no matter how much you back a manager, once that starts happening, usually there's only one solution or one eventuality, and it's come to pass. So in terms of short term or long term, I was listening to you talk about Zola and Terry. Well, that could be a solution. It's going to be patchwork, and begs the question: then why pull the trigger at all? I guess it was that bad. It was probably untenable. What was the word they used? Palpable discord.
Palpable discord. Oh my God! Not again.
But this is so like Chelsea to kind of pull the trigger before anybody sees it coming, and I don't know. It may have been. If you think about it, I've been kind of looking at the preseason. It was lackluster. The start of the season's been lackluster. If you really think about it, maybe it's a bit cold, but it's been downhill since the UCL final. We've just been trying to get to that level ever since.
Yeah, sitting on our laurels, basically. That's what we've done, actually, to be very honest.
And it was like I used to say that this system is like Tuchel's a victim of his own success because he's gone and won the Champions League with a back three playing the way he's playing, and now that's what he has to commit to and try to see it through, and whether it's his tactical stubbornness or just the players that he has, he doesn't see any other solution playing them in any which way and any other way, that he keeps sticking to that format of whatever that is. Recently, if you look back now in the context of what's happened today, if you look back at the last few games, he had switched it up. He had tried a back four in different ways, and it was almost
Finally.
like, why is he doing this? It was begging that question, because if he backs his three at the back, then why meddle, right? Is he under pressure?
I think Dennis covers it beautifully. Again, people, I have to give a shout out to Couch Critic as well. If you see his tactics, right, you'll understand exactly what Tuchel is trying to do. And I know, Mikhail, I'm cutting you there, but Dennis, if you'd like to quickly pitch in there in terms of the tactics, as in, did you actually see a vision in what Tuchel is trying to do in the last 5 games?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I can analyze what it is that he was trying to do in my own primitive way, but in terms of like the actual application on the pitch, it wasn't really coming off. And yesterday, it kind of like reached a height. I just put out,
and that's what Mikhail was saying, right? Because the players were not really, buying to that strategy. Maybe.
I mean, like, to be honest with you, like the truth about how we play and how we're successful as a team is hard work. Hard work. We won the Champions League because we worked hard off the ball and on the ball. And like, to be honest, most players do not like to play like that. They don't like to be pressing all the, throughout the game. Like it's a very, especially when you're playing at this level, you got players that you're paying 100 million pound for, 70 million pound for. They're just trying to basically, they want to execute in the final third. They want to be pressing all over the pitch. So it's a very hard system to get people to, to buy into. And of course, we were able to do that at the end of Lampard's run because it's a new manager bounce. People have to listen to the voice the new voice that's come in. And as soon as we got to the end of the Champions League, it seems like they just resorted back to just like, listen, I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't want to be running up and down the pitch, like closing spaces like and whatnot. Like that's not how my game is, right? And we as supporters bought into it because it worked. We won the Champions League like that. We don't care about what the players think.
Yeah, he built from the back, basically built from the back. We could clearly see that he was again trying to do buying those defenders. It was not secret, Dennis. The fact that we were going for all of them, people are wondering why were you going for Guardiola. But again, I think Tuchel has mentioned it that probably we have to secure that and have that built from that, and then maybe see what it brings, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. I've been talking about just rebuilding the defense, like just rebuilding the defense and reclaiming that structure that saw us win the Champions League, where we weren't conceding any high danger opportunities. Like you remember that year, that run in the Champions League, Mendy wasn't really called into action a lot, if at all. You know what I mean? Like 1 and 2 saves here and there, and that was because the structure was so good. We didn't really have a strong. We don't have that anymore. Go ahead, Mikhail.
Mikhail, I know that you've been waiting to say this.
Even Mendy wasn't put under pressure in that run, and hence he looked better than necessarily he was. Not that I'm complaining. It's just that you have to kind of put that into context of his current performances. I don't think it's necessarily dropped. It's just that he's exposed to maybe more these days than he was back in that UCL run.
Yeah, exactly. And Mikhail, just checking with you quickly. As in, again, a lot of people have given me ideas in the chat, and I know that we're just speculating here. As per the odds, as in Graham Potter, I believe Brighton are open to kind of talk to them for people who've joined late. We did share the tweets of BenJacobs, DavidOrnstein, as well as MattLaw. But Mikhail, as in there are other options. Like I was discussing, like you mentioned about maybe the Terry Zola for the timing, and then maybe getting on maybe a Luis Enrique or a Deschamps again with the Chelsea connection, a French connection as well. Them coming in, or maybe folks are saying why not the ex-German manager Joachim Löw. There are a lot of issues, but I think from what I understand, Boehly and co, one of the main objectives of this transfer market was clear to me, is like, if you're getting someone from elsewhere, they want ideally someone who has Premier League experience. I know that was players, but in your honest opinion, a Zidane or a Deschamps or a Luis Enrique or Joachim Löw, over say maybe Graham Potter, who has English Premiership experience, maybe even Poch. I know that we have spoken Poch a lot of times, not in a good way. But what is your personal opinion? Just putting your neutral hat on for a timing. What do you think is the best for Chelsea?
I honestly, of all the names you've taken, Graham Potter is probably the only one that sounds to me like it would be progressive in terms of being on the ball, in terms of we have to make the best of the situation right now. He's somebody that's doing it right now with a team with much lesser resources. They're playing progressive football, positive football, and I honestly, almost every week, my eyebrows go up when I look at the results of Brighton is cooking. So they are cooking over there, and
the way they play, Remember that Chelsea, from whatever reason, I know me and Mikhail and maybe even Dennis are coming from a different school of thought that, come on, playing football is not about just playing sexy football, but again, Graham Potter gives that as well. So you have that, probably American owners coming in, they probably want. I mentioned the PR element. I know that was just a devil's advocate kind of an idea, but they do have a lot of pluses than minuses with Potter, right?
So that's the thing, right? You have to know the league to hit the ground running. Between the short span that they will have before the World Cup starts to actually kind of secure your table position before everybody kind of goes away for that, and then we come. I think the EPL resumes in the last 10 days of the year. So it would help to have somebody that's like Potter. When you talk about Deschamps and Zidane and Pochettino, it's going to be. Yeah, we're probably going to be having this discussion next year, this time too, or in the summer. Like, I don't see them lasting. The EPL, the way it is, it's hard for somebody new to come in. And again, when I say that, there's obviously examples of foreign managers coming in out of nowhere and winning the league and whatnot with Chelsea. But that can't always be the expectation that, now we're going to get somebody from Italy and they're going to win us the league. It happened once or twice. But it can't be the go-to. Now, the thing is that these are new owners. So what happened behind the scenes, one can only speculate on, right? But it's happened. They pulled the trigger. It's too soon for everybody that's in the blue corner, even though everybody was kind of seeing it, the writing on the wall, that this is not going to last if it continues. So whatever happened, they pulled the trigger. Now the pressure is on them. The pressure is on Boehly and company to figure out their next move very carefully, because if they hire the wrong person, then all that 220 million plus that they've spent is basically money totally wasted at this point. So there's smart people. So far, if you look at the transfer business that they've done, they've tried to back, I don't know, the manager or whoever was scouting these options. That's the other thing. I never thought that Tuchel sat easy with that added responsibility of recruitment. He's said it previously that he's happy being the coach. He doesn't like being involved in managerial matters or
yeah, it may come across wrong as well, Mikhail, because at some point, I think as owners who kind of trusted him, probably they expected just to kind of say that, no, actually, they've given me far larger responsibility than what I expected. That's absolutely fantastic. Probably, this is something that I feel part of the family, and that's why it's my duty. You can always put it in a slightly different manner. You know what I'm trying to say in terms of the media. So maybe sometimes that has added to what has not been a problem actually.
No, but I concur there, but at the same time, he's never struck me as a person that enjoys that side of the business, and he seems like he's more a perfectionist in terms of, okay, this is what I'm trying to do on the pitch, and that's what I want whoever is playing doing, and he proved it with Rudiger, who was 1 foot out of the door at the point where Tuchel took over. He proved it with Alonso. He proved it with Jorginho. So he took discards as and we went and won 3 trophies with them and got us to 2 more finals that arguably we could have won, should have won, etc. So there's going to be, obviously, it's happened, and there's going to be many different opinions about it. But he never struck me as taking that additional responsibility.
Something I love doing. No, as in that was very clear.
He didn't take to it with any kind of joy. It was like one more thing he had to do now, and that's kind of sort of the feel I got. And And I heard some people say, and it kind of struck a chord, that it's almost like some of his decision making, he's been kind of trying to invite the sack. Like it's you kind of head scratchers of decisions, and you're just like, why is he doing the things he's doing?
Yeah, like playing Mason Mount in midfield yesterday, for example, despite
Wow.
signing a load of midfielders.
Wow,
Dennis,
I actually said that in my post match. I just released it. I was exactly that. Like,
I know that you've been saying it for a while.
oh my
Because
god!
I broke at the same time. By the time I was like, I need to get to it, but Tuchel's gone on.
It's too big. Like I'm like burying the lead by releasing that video now, right? But anyways, the thing that I wanted to touch on before, I really think the biggest mistake they're going to make is hiring a manager coach before they hire the director of football.
Yeah,
I really think that's a huge mistake. Like if you go into this next hiring, like you go into this next period and you don't have a director of football in place, and you're bringing in a manager again, like Graham Potter, for instance, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, first of all, look at his pedigree. Like, I don't have a problem with Graham Potter as a coach. I think that if you give him enough time, he'll get it together. But like, just look at his pedigree right now. This guy was at Brighton, just took them out of basically a relegation battle. Now they're about mid-table. He's never been in the Champions League. He's never had to worry about playing 2 games a week. He's never worked with top professionals like these big name players, like marquee signings and stuff like that. These are all things that you have to take in consideration when you're talking about.
He'll be learning the job. That's not a great time to be a Chelsea kind of backer for Champions League, right?
Right, exactly. So I'm worried. I'm worried that first of all, this decision was extremely rash. If it wasn't, and it was more calculated, and they already have the director of football in place, the director of football has already outlined who he wants to be his manager, that's a completely different thing. But without knowing that 100%, I'm really, really worried about this next period. Like, I don't want to see them hire a manager and then have this guy not have any real experience at the top level.
Yep. By the way, shout out to Miss Selena as well. Miss Selena, always good to see you as always. But yes, you know what? Again, there's a school of thought that Anthony Barry might be that guy because he knew the Tuchel style, etc. And of course, defensively, he's slightly better. So that may be one of the things. But again, like just adding on to Dennis's point, 100% agree that you need to have, I understand and respect everyone's footballing philosophy and what their ability is. But when it comes to Chelsea, and at that level, generally, right, it's not about really coaching. It's really about managing the egos, managing the squad, and taking the right decisions. And that's why you're paid the big bucks. So you do that once you have the backing of your backroom staff, which includes the director of football, right, Dennis?
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right there. Like, you have to be able to. That's why it's called manager. It's not about just like the on field. Like, you have to manage these big personalities as well too, right? And if you notice, you remember after Jose came back, they didn't give him manager title. They gave him head coach.
And from then on, it's been a continuous thing, Dennis. Exactly. And that's where I'm saying, like, the players for some reason, are maybe, knowing that as well, and they're not kind of backing their tactics as much. And that's, I know it can be a coincidence, but the fact is, I think Tuchel has emphasized on that fact in many press conferences that, okay, I'm the coach and not the manager. That is something that has actually stood out to me. Even I think if I remember Conte also mentioned that clearly in a couple of press conferences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it came across almost as like I would not say real kind of hit to the management, but it came across as something that, okay, fine, they are not allowed to maybe speak about certain things. Is that what it is? I don't know. Like, it might be that as well. Who knows, right?
No, or maybe they felt like, like, this is not my responsibility anymore, or it could have even just been like ego wise. They're like, well, I'm just the head coach. I can't make those decisions. Like, if it were up to me, I'd be doing something different, right? Like, it's kind of like a way of just like scapegoating, the decisions that have been made at the club, right? That's true. Anthony Barry is a set piece coach. That's true.
Correct. And by the way, yes, Darren, the idea was this stream was supposed to be a UCL review and a UCL preview stream. But yes, UCL preview we had done 2 days ago, Darren. So we're not going to do a prediction stream again. But yes, hopefully, let me see if I can do a watch along tonight. I know the good matches as well. But honestly speaking, as Chelsea Ultras, the 3 of us are. Trust me, it won't surprise me if none of us watch that, right? I'm being very honest. I love football. I love the UCL, but that's how it's been. It's been disturbing almost, the news. Yes, we have to look forward. You have to be positive. But, unfortunately, to some extent, we have to be worrying about what is happening with us, because I have been trolled. I won't lie here. I have been trolled multiple times. Not that it affects me, but about Chelsea not having that, as in what do you say, we are not good in a relationship, those kind of things, which is something which is a fact. I can't even deny that. But anyway, closing thoughts. Yes, I know we've been talking for about 1 hour 45 minutes, and again, big shout out to Dennis from Couch Critic, of course, Mikhail, and again, I'll be I think I've already added Dennis's channel link below, so I would really request everyone. You heard the guy's thought, and yes, for people out there who are loyal watchers of Almighty Blues FC, do know both Dennis and Mikhail. I would love to have them always. Been there with the channel from like almost from day 2 or 3. So great to have you, Dennis, back. But Dennis, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, no, this is just shocking still. Like, even as we talk through it, it's still just shocking news to me, and I mean, we're not privy to the full story. Obviously, we can't get to this point without it being untenable. Like, there has to be a reason behind it. You don't back a manager 260 million pounds in the transfer window and then sack him 6 games in. So I'm feeling like this is a more calculated decision. Maybe they've decided that, going forward, they already have who in mind that they want to replace him, and the time to get him is now rather than later. If that's the case, then I'm all for it. Like, if you know who you want to go for and you have a director of football in mind and whatnot, then I'm for the move. Like, there's no sense in like keeping Thomas Tuchel in place if in the end he's not the guy that you want to be working with. Let's just get this thing running the way you see it right from jump, and figure it out from there. But I'm not gonna lie, if it's Graham Potter, I'm kind of wary about like his experience at the top level. And
I'm with you. Trust me.
There's a lot of reasons for that. He plays beautiful football. He gets a squad of players to buy into his philosophy, but can he do that at the highest level? That's the next thing. We always see these smaller managers that play with these smaller teams, that can coax good football out of like lesser players, but can they now take it to the next level and get the bigger names to buy into their philosophy as well? That's the worry there.
Yeah, and again, a lot of stats are going to come to us, Zachary. Don't worry about it. And great to see, Zachary is back as well. Pretty sure Ole is not going to be. I know that people are trying to link Ole with us, but he's not going to be. Let's be honest about that one. I know the United Road, Anshuman, big up to him as well. He was there on channel, but come on, that's not going to happen. Mikhail, big up to you again, bro. As in closing thoughts from you as well, please.
Yeah, no. So it's interesting to have multiple perspectives. So while I said I like the pros of having a Potter type manager in. Couch is right to say that the cons could be that the players might not buy in, and we may be in a player power situation again. So again, if the dice is loaded, the decision that the owners make here, it's going to have that's going to validate the decision of sacking Tuchel or invalidate it. So what they do with it is now more important than what they've already done. So it's going to be a restless period for us Blues supporters trying to figure out what's coming next. And yes, there's going to be a lot of names linked.
Look at this one. I like this one. Come on, Couch.
That's straight out of left field. It wouldn't be bad to see her take over on an interim just to see what that feels.
Yeah, actually, interim. Why not? As in, I'm for it, man. Manav, big up, yeah. That's a great shout, actually, in my opinion. At least for interim, for sure. Yeah, but Mikhail, please continue.
Yeah, no, that's Emma's a good shout, but Emma's doing a good job where she is. So it's
exactly
respectful to kind of try to link her with the other role, and it's not necessarily fair to her either, because then she goes to the bottom of the she has to go prove herself in the men's world kind of argument, where she's already done that on the women's side of the game, where not a lot of female coaches have gotten as high up in the game as she's taken Chelsea over the past years. So yeah, no, that's a good shout though. And that's kind of sort of the balance that Chelsea have to find on the men's side is, to play more progressive football, more attacking football. Doesn't have to be total football, but at the same time, we would like to see a little more attacking intent. And I think that was the problem with Tuchel's Chelsea of late, is that you had the stats to show that, we're creating chances and, it's just about conversion. But when you look at it, the game, it was just trying the same thing for 90 minutes, 100 times or 50 times in a game. You're trying to make the same move, which is just go out to the world, the pack everybody into the box and then hope somebody gets to a cross or a header, which
Bro, we are Reece James FC now. I'm telling you, that's what we've become.
And not good enough to actually reach his service. That's the other problem, is that when you shoot them in, there's nobody anticipating those those cross.
I won't
The
deny
amount of
that.
times that we do that, you'd think that somebody would be trying to get on the end of them all the time, right?
One time that Sterling got to the end of it for, I think it was his debut goal, maybe. I was like, finally, somebody that anticipated that ball that Reece is known to put in through.
Oh yeah, the second goal, I think it was against Leicester, was it?
Box, right? That deep run from the byline and crosses it in, and nobody gets to it ever, right? Like, how many times do you have to see it happen before somebody clues in? Little things other than that, like just playing drilled teams, we get undone by lesser teams that are just better drilled, and that begs the question: what drills are we doing? Are we doing any at this point, or are we too full of ourselves? And
Yeah, we should see the clips from training, bro. As in even training, we miss shots. Trust me on that. But that's something that Mikhail and me have been voicing a lot. I know.
yeah, so there were a lot of little cracks starting to appear.
They were.
We're scared to talk about them, lest they actually become more manifested and actually lead to something like this. But it's happened regardless, right? So now
Yeah. It's just the timing, Mikhail. I know that I agree with you 100%. I myself, we have discussed last stream. I think we were discussing clearly about the tactics and about being so rigid that he wasn't. But at some point in time, as in you have to understand that okay, there's a project going on. There's actually the strategy for a long term. So I'm like, okay, fine, we have to back Tuchel. But again, the timing of it's the weirdest, and that's why it comes as a shock.
I would have thought that he would have at least been given till the January window to see what we've done with our half season, and then at that point you make a change. So this seems like there was a falling out, and it came to a head, and at that point they had to pull the trigger, which is fine. Tuchel's known to do those things as well. He's left. He hasn't left amicably his last couple of clubs either. So I'm not surprised that it's come to that. But Tuchel himself had started looking a little, I don't know, a little disinterested. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, frustrating. The disinterest was all part of what he was actually seen in post match.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it regardless of what it ends up looking like. Like Mount should have been yanked at halftime or something, because he was struggling.
How did he stay on till the end? I have no idea, man. As in, again, I am agreeing with everything, but
and I was like, okay, it's one thing when you're that's the player for that position and you're letting them grow into that role and persisting with them. But Mount's never played in that position, and he's not known to play in that position. So why are you doing it when Jorginho is sitting on the
even Ziach, right? For example, Ziach, we all know that 4-3-3 is probably his best formation, if per se. And the moment he bought on, I think he bought on Ziach for 3 games this season, and all the 3 games he bought when we went back to a back 5, and which was like so weird.
I don't think Ziach played more than 2 games in his Chelsea career in his preferred position, which is a little deep in midfield to the right, where he has some license to roam in a maybe in an 8 role / winger, but in inside.
Oh, yeah. I remember discussing this with Dennis. Dennis, I think you were on the stream that last time, very as in coincidence, but we remember discussing the Tottenham game. Wasn't the Tottenham game last year that Ziyech actually had a fantastic game, and he was probably, that was one game where he played that formation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We went to the 4 at the back for that game, and Ziyech came to life there. I think that Ziyech needs to be given a free role. He can't be given a tactical assignment like you have to be up and down the pitch and whatnot. He needs to, like when he was at Ajax, he had the free role there, right? Like he can just roam and stitch together moves wherever you wanted. And when you have him in a structured system that is rigid and doesn't really give him the freedom to, express himself freely, then this is what you get, man. But he was abysmal last night. Like some of the things that I saw from Ziyech last night
was trying too hard. He was trying too hard.
I don't even think he was trying too hard. He just looked like he didn't know how to play football anymore. I'm not gonna lie. He looked really terrible.
It's a little bit of both. Like, I'm going to show you what I can do, and then he was like, no, it's way too far. It's probably not his footballing skills doing the work for him. Put it that way. But yeah, fantastic to have you all. Yes, of course, I wanted to speak to Dennis. Like from so long, he's not been on the channel, so I'm like, yeah, Dennis, you got to come here today. Not a great occasion, Dennis, but hopefully this can be start of things to come. Hopefully we'll have a lot more positive chat about it. Yes, whoever comes in, it is football club owned by Chelsea, and of course Todd Boehly, Iqbali, and course, so we'll have to back them. But again, I am shocked. Wish you all the best, Thomas Tuchel. Certainly, as much as we would have criticized you at times. We've been criticizing you recently as well, but always, at least I know that the three of us are like, come on, this is not going to solve the problem. But unfortunately, that's what the owners think. We have to go with that for now. Again, big up to Dennis and Mikhail, and of course everyone in the chat here, all the members especially, and the mods as well. We are going to come back. Yes, UCL is coming. Let me see if I can set up a live stream for a watch along. If not, we will certainly do a review tomorrow live as well. So yeah, big up to everyone,
fellas.
and see you
Good.
soon. Come on, up
All
the
right.
Chels no matter what.